Yeah, Slamcast back Friday night. I'm fucking this all up. I don't give a shit. I am the Gaming Pegasus 187 back because it is Burhan's last show.
Hello, ladies and gents. Final leg of the Michael Burhan farewell tour. It is the final time you're going to see me on your radios on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/unlimradio, and also on any of the podcasts. And the reason being is I'm going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus to go sort my own shit out, but we'll be talking about that a little bit later, and I'll be actually giving people a little bit more feed as to what I'm going to be doing when I do my video on my YouTube channel, which I'll give a little bit more details later on. And now let's do some wrestling. But we can't do that first without kind of our lead host tonight, Mr. Untitled Movie Show himself, Miguel Leon.
You scared the shit out of me, Nick, because I thought I was going to do the boom. Like, I'm sitting here going, dun, 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 dun. All right, here it comes.
It's like, do you know where they do that bit?
Someone stole my thunder.
Yeah. So the main event thing where they go to dum 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 dum. It's like Miguel's walking up to the fucking curtain. It's like dum 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 dum, and then Nick's music plays and Nick walks out. And he's like, fuck it.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here, I'm fist pumping to the music. I'm like, yeah, here's it comes. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna say the boom, and then I'm gonna start the show. Fucking damn it!
You suck my battleship.
He talks shit about you, Nick, and you're just gonna be ending up jobbing on Superstars. Sorry.
Fuck that.
You stole Miguel's thunder.
Yeah, all I gotta do is just completely oversell the Cobra like JTG, and I'll end up getting Future Endeavor. So.
I can see it happening. You get Future
you
Endeavor.
you oversell everything like HBK at SummerSlam.
2005, yeah. Well, I mean, he had to because, well, Hogan can't do shit.
That's a great matchup. I went back and watched it recently. I do love that matchup.
It's so fun to watch because of how Shawn has to fucking oversell for Hogan. And Hogan could still do stuff in the ring at that point in 05. It wasn't before his, more back surgeries and Ric Flair's had title reigns, so.
Yeah, when one eye went east and the other eye went west.
Oh, God, yeah. Jesus. And now he's there just ready to come kiss Vince's ass. He needs to know, because when he needs another alimony payment, brother.
I think it's time for another DX reunion, brother.
Good God. That I was going to be part of a 96, brother. Reunion,
brother.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Shawn. That's why I said DX reunion. I didn't know we were talking about Hogan.
Well, nice setup, because I got to bring up that... Remember when he made the comment about that he was going to be part of DX in 96 or something? Or
yeah,
something?
And then Hunt's just like, yeah, that never happened.
Was this before or after he said he was going to be the bassist in Metallica?
And then he said
somewhere.
He's going to be WWE champion at some point. And TNA champion. Speaking of champion, we have the man behind Burhan and the Boy, of course, himself, and he's going to be starting a new show next week, so stay tuned for that with Mr. Sean Michelin. He is the lawn boy himself, Mr. Dave Wade. Dave!
Hello. Sorry I've been a little bit absent. As I said before the cast, it's me and Summer, we just don't get on.
Oh, tell me about it. Me and Laurie's don't get on. I ended up jobbing to a lorry today. I did. Yeah, I like fucking.
You could sell a Christmas tree to Colt Cabana, man.
Yeah, someone ran over to me and was like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, I'm just that damn good. What? I sell everything.
That lorry didn't get quite well.
Yeah, Michael, don't run the fucking way, Michael. Listen, Michael.
I was in the background because I've got the MP3 on my phone. Don't ask me why, people. I would have immediately found the bit of tune and played the really sad music when Phil gets shot.
When I work, it's like. but like playing the whole Hulk thing, and I'm just gonna be standing outside like signaling cars.
Now you've gone to brass band.
Wait a minute. Is that supposed to be the Hulk theme or Kurt Angle's theme from
I
WWE?
don't know.
Let me. I got this one. Is na 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 na. Turn around slowly to camera behind you. Hold up thumb. Na, 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 na. There you go. Covered. Not quite. I preferred it when Stewie did it though.
Yeah, the Stewie one's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, so...
All right. Speaking of Angle, do we want to go into that bit of news then to start off?
Let's do that.
Yeah, this is...
I don't know what Kurt Angle, is he got bad knees like me?
No, this is from yesterday. Kurt Angle rushed to the hospital after complications from recent surgery, quoting WrestleZone. TNA wrestling star and former WWE legend Kurt Angle has been rushed to the hospital following complications from his recent surgery, according to his management, who wrote the following on Twitter early this morning. Quote, "Friends and family, this is a message from Mr. Angle's management. Yesterday, while Mr. Angle was preparing for his travel to the UK for Comic-Con, he was experiencing severe pain. He lost feeling in his extremities and started to have some difficulty breathing. His wife, Giovanni, very concerned, rushed him to the hospital where doctors informed Kurt that his symptoms were the result of his recent surgery that left a large buildup of fluid in his spinal cord. The surgery, obviously, to remove the tumors in his neck.
Right.
Since the condition could be fatal, they immediately underwent emergency surgery to relieve the pressure on his spine. The surgery went well, and doctors believe he will have a full recovery. Kurt apologizes to his friends and family that he will not be appearing at Comic-Con in London this weekend as hoped. Kurt is doing well, and we will keep you posted on his progress." Unquote.
Yeah, that's the film Comic-Con that's going on. It's got Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd there. I was supposed to be going, but that kind of fell through.
Yeah. Can we just say that Kurt's done? I think this is his body basically saying, pack it up, you're done.
Wake up.
It's what I told him that ages ago. The fact that he was working, the schedule that he was working with the TNA Championship was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's on point where this guy should not have been working the amount of time he was working. I don't even think you're paying much alimony to his kids, to tell you the truth. He was like, I think like Karen Jarrett has kind of got that sorted out, with his kids. But Kurt should have been done.
He's addicted to the business. That's
what it boils someone down. Who basically wasn't even a fan of it to begin with, if you remember.
Yeah. And he picked it up fucking quick.
Yeah, I remember when he came out of developmental, and he did. That guy was like, he had all the tools. He could talk. He had the ability.
Funny as hell.
Yeah. And it is someone that I hold in high regard, despite his problems, despite the fact that, Angle's had issues. In terms of the wrestling guy that he is, he's made leaps and bounds in this industry, and he's got to give him a lot of credit for what he's done in the industry itself.
That's probably why he's finding it so hard to let go, isn't it?
Yeah,
because he really has
clearly
no other
someone who's enjoyed every aspect of it. He's not solely just what does one specific thing, like I can wrestle but I can't promote. No, he enjoys every aspect of it, so it's got to be really different.
You look at guys that get insanely over. Hogan, he wasn't that great of a worker, but the gimmick got over. Sandman in ECW the same way. Sandman was not a great wrestler, but that gimmick got over.
Yeah,
Angle's he is the total package. He can talk, he can work, and my God, he's fucking entertaining.
I think the only thing I think that he misses is the only thing I think he misses from being like the perfect, wrestler is the fact that he never really was that big of a star on the level of an Austin or a Rock or
he came around a time where it was dominated by Rock and Austin. Angle was kind of that foil. When they needed somebody for their top guy to work with, he was there. And he held the title a couple of different times.
But he also transitioned into a main eventer when the Bland split.
On SmackDown. Oh,
Bland split. Yeah,
SmackDown 6, man.
Yeah, the Benoit angle with the tag team championships was hilarious. With the situation that he did when it came to him and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Shit, he went going on with Brock. Brilliant. You know, Angle is one of those guys, in my opinion, who could make anyone look good. When they were looking for someone for Brock Lesnar to feud with, they went through everyone. He went through The Rock disappeared. The Rock, was gone.
Fucked off, yeah.
Yeah, he was going to feud with Austin. Austin, basically
Austin knew there was a money feud with him, but WWE just didn't have any faith in Austin at that
They
point.
were going to throw him out.
Yeah, because
Austin was going to do the job.
Austin
was going to do the job to Lesnar, and just no build up. There was a money feud there, but nope. No, you're just going to... He's going to pin you. You're going to put him over, but that's what we're going to do. Then fuck this. I'm out of here. I mean, Austin left. He walked out.
We did CM Punk before CM Punk did CM Punk.
Yeah, which I always found
different circumstances. Punk left because fucking Mr. Z-Pack almost killed him.
Because he nearly died.
Fucking shit.
But yeah.
How? Oh god, I want that Mr. Z-Pack. I think he is sponsored by Z-Pack. Yeah, take 2 Z-Packs, call him in the morning. Someone comes in with a fucking broken leg. Here, take 2 Z-Packs, call me in the morning. But my leg is broke, you jackass.
Yeah.
Just take a couple Z-Packs.
Maybe if I basically came to him with my injuries, he'd be like, take 2 Z-Packs, call me in the morning.
Exactly.
It's like on South Park where they have the mythical cure for SARS, and it's like Sprite, NyQuil, and Campbell's soup.
It was like chicken soup, Sprite, and yeah.
Yeah, it was NyQuil.
Yeah, it was just hilarious. Oh yeah, that was the one where it was like some kid won a contest, and he got to be on the show and voice his own guy. And he was like, they're like, who the hell are you? I'm Alex. I won the voice contest thingy. Blah 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 blah. And he leaves, never to be seen again.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying about Kurt Angle, I mean, let me ask you guys a question, because I've heard a lot of backlash against this, because I was very much for TNA when they signed Kurt Angle in 06. I know a lot of people nowadays are kind of, saying, how could TNA have done this, signing a guy that was so poorly in health that WWE got rid of him at a time when, I mean, this is pre-Benoit, so this was kind of at a time when they weren't really paying attention to the health and well-being of their workers.
Oh yeah, he tore his fucking groin, for God's sake. He tore his groin, and he wanted to basically wrestle for the ECW championship.
Yeah, I remember that period. But, I mean, what do you guys think about... Do you guys fault TNA for doing that, for taking a guy who was that off physically and making him kind of the focal point of their product?
They needed someone to kind of put him over.
Right, but and then also, TNA, their schedule wasn't as demanding as WWE. So
not at that time.
Well, yeah, not at that time. No, it helped Kurt in a way, but of course, I think him losing, beating Samoa Joe didn't really help. Looking back, I mean, it was a hell of a match, but it's like this guy just came in from WWE and he's beating your top guy who's been undefeated for about a year and a half.
Yeah, I'm not faulting.
People may have faulted it, but let's be honest, they were just doing what they were doing, which is they were looking out for their own best interest to some degree, which is we need wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, I fault TNA more for them signing Jeff Hardy after he was, charged with drug trafficking more than I do them signing Kurt Angle.
I fault them more for bringing Hogan and Bischoff in.
Okay, fair enough. But
there was no way they should have been brought in. And then they bring in the Nasty Boys about 15 years after anybody wants to see them. They bring in Bubba the Love Sponge, who gets his ass kicked by Awesome Kong.
Well, listen, we can do a whole retrospective episode on Hogan's run in TNA. In fact, I might actually have to. I might actually plug that to Brandon. If I have a Friday off, we can do that where we just do a whole episode talking about that. But as far as Kurt Angle though, I think more than anything else, this is the point where he needs to just hang it up. And I'm not saying that because I'm being selfish. I think literally his body.
Are you going to call it that? I think we all know he'd probably at least attempt another run.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. In fact, once TNA goes under, if Jeff Jarrett doesn't sign him to GFW, I could see. I would be shocked if ROH went after him, but I could see him going towards ROH and being like, "Hey, wrestling legend."
I think he would be either a figurehead in ROH or basically the main man there. I can see it happen to the point where he would be the guy that have a couple of matches, probably win the ROH championship, and then he'll end up leaving the company. Well, not leaving the company, but staying on as the company's figurehead or something. They'll probably they won't probably get rid of Nigel McGuinness. They'll probably put Nigel on commentary, have Angle as the new like head of authority figure or something, or even have him on commentary. I wouldn't mind having Angle on commentary, especially with his silver tongue. Could be something new that he does.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
and indie bookings would help Angle as a whole. And to me, there's a lot more that he can do, and there's a lot more skills that he has to succeed in the business than most. I think that's where the thing lies with some people. Like, when you have, for instance, someone like, Dana Brooke. She can't talk. She barely can wrestle, but she has a look. So she can probably be a fitness model, and she's learning the tools to try and be a professional wrestler.
Right, and that's why I've got no problem with her down in it coming up from NXT, because that's what it is. It's developmental.
Yeah,
you know?
and she'll learn, but they need to find someone for her to play off of. Over in Angle's case, he has the wrestling ability, he has the knowledge, he has amateur wrestling knowledge and pro wrestling knowledge. He has the idea of the Olympics, he has that background.
Just taken one too many knocks.
Yeah, he also can talk. He also has had his injuries, like tons of injuries, so he knows if someone has an injury, he can sell an injury for like some of the guys as well. And he's also that guy that you could bring in for a specialized match. So you've got the big heel the company needs to put over, but the guy's not ready for the world title. Starting with a feud with Angle, have them kind of go mic by mic by mic, have a special attraction event at a main pay-per-view. Boom, Angle loses, the guy wins, or Angle wins that one and then moves to the next event, and then the next event, then the guy ends up basically defeating Angle finally, and then he gets his main push to be the main heel of the company. So much you can do with Angle. And I think Ring of Honor is a place for wrestling. If Angle wants to be in a wrestling company, that's where he would have the best go at. Or he could basically talk to WWE about becoming part of NXT and maybe being one of the head trainers there, teach the guys a lot of the fundamentals, because he's got a lot to give. But I think the problem with the WWE and Angle at the moment is they're still sour over the way he left. And for the bad mouthing. That's why Triple H keeps saying to him, no, you've got to work a full-time schedule if you work with us. Not very seriously. He's saying it to put Angle off, if that makes sense. Nothing.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
If Angle said yes, he'd be like, no. He would probably be like, okay, put him over to the medical team. Then the medical team, like, yeah, we can't clear him. Like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I don't think WWE would go for him anymore at this point. I think physically they just see him as just he's falling apart. I think if he ever really wanted a serious return to WWE, I think he would need to take a solid year of just no activity. Just stay at home, rest up your body, take a year and a half, 2 years if you have to. No one's putting it past you. You've been doing this for almost 15 years. Just if you don't want to retire,
not a high flyer, but man, he took bumps.
Yeah, I mean,
bumps this guy took. What the fuck?
He put 5 stars in every matchup he does. I can rarely ever think of a matchup that Kurt Angle has done, even in TNA.
That he's not done completely. If he does, I don't know, take a mini hiatus and walk away from a bit.
Do you think there's any money in Angle at this point? Like, let's say he takes off. Like, he takes off right now and comes back into the limelight around 2017. Do you think there would be any spice to him? Do you think, WWE would see anything in bringing him back? Or is it a situation like, let's say, if they decided to bring in Jeff Jarrett and no one would give a shit,
Yeah, I think, to me, I feel that GFW isn't going to be a big player in the business.
I'm not talking about GFW. I'm talking about if WWE were to bring back Kurt Angle, would he actually still have weight behind him as a draw, or would it be like if they tried bringing back Jeff Jarrett? Because if they brought back like somebody like Jeff Jarrett, no one would give a shit.
No, the last thing Jeff Jarrett had done on WWE TV was when Vince fired him.
They have the thing about it is, for me, I can see what they're doing. I can understand what they're doing. But with Angle, I think NXT would probably be the best bet.
Yeah. Ooh, well, you could bring him back to regular WWE for like a one-off special event and do something drastic. Have him turn into an absolute bastard or something.
I've got some breaking news, guys.
Yep.
This was just posted 47 minutes ago on Facebook, on the official Facebook for Montel Vontavious Porter. He posted a picture of the entrance to the inner entrance to the impact zone, the ramp, with a quote at the bottom, quote, "The BDC is no more. So long TNA, ... And at the bottom he put book MVP now at gmail.com. So it looks like it's official.
Wow.
Right out of the horse's mouth. MVP no longer associated with TNA.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, maybe they. Well, they did just sign Bram to another multi-year contract extension, so.
Is it just going to be Bram versus a bear? That's what Bram
Really?
versus an imaginary bear. That's what it's going to be.
It'll be Bram versus EC3. They're gonna have a best of 50-something series for the TNA World Title. They're gonna put on 8 matches a night, people. God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
Wow, I mean it's another big name down the tubes over at TNA. I mean, this is scary at this point. Like I'm scared for TNA because
It's done. It is honestly done at this point. With how many? I mean, you kind of started to see it go downhill when AJ Styles left, and then after that, as everybody's left, I don't think there's one person on that roster who was there on day one.
no,
James Storm is Abyss still there? I don't know.
yeah, Abyss is still there. James
Okay.
Storm is gone, or at least I believe
No,
there
Storm
were
is
rumors
gone.
that he was gone. I'm actually looking at the TNA roster. Half the roster on here is gone. Like they haven't updated their roster at all as far as their website. But yeah, let me see. Abyss is still there. Is Angelina Love still there?
I think.
Okay, so
I
I
haven't
yes,
been
she's
paying
managed
attention.
one
I
of the
know,
Wolves.
like,
I call
Jade
her
is
the
still
plastic
there.
fantastic diva or knockout.
okay. Yeah, I like Angelina Love. I love
I know
Velvet Sky
Velvet Sky
more,
is
but
still there. Thank God.
yeah. So okay, we got Abyss, we got Angelina Love. Austin Aries is gone, if I'm not mistaken.
We know
Yeah,
Bully
he's,
Ray's gonna be the
doing
authority
well.
figure.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Uh,
makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Dixie Carter
Shh,
puts
don't try to analyze it. Don't try to analyze it. Your head will explode.
TNA logic. I know. Oh God.
Let's see.
Ah,
Kong is still there,
shame.
so that's 3. Is Bobby Roode officially still with TNA, or is he doing TNA and GFW? I'm not
no,
sure
he's
what the.
apparently officially been released.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3. Bram is still there. That's 4. Brooke is 5. Chris Melendez
So what
is.
percentage are we looking at then of it being, original? The original
Oh.
roster?
We're looking at their current roster now, but as far
Yeah,
as
I'm trying to count their current roster as far as original talent. I mean,
The
Hernandez just came back,
Yeah.
so I guess
if you're looking at guys who had been there since day one, Abyss is the only one. Yeah, he was doing like Prince Justice in that first show, but it was everyone else has left. There was not one person that had been on that roster since day one that is still there except for Abyss.
Man,
I mean, when
Well,
AJ
They'll
Styles
rename
left,
it
I'm
to
like,
something like Next Generation or
He can
0.20.
work 2 characters. He's Abyss and Joseph Park.
oh God.
yeah, they brought back Joseph Park, even though they've already unmasked him because
Yeah,
it was TNA.
again, TNA logic. You know,
I mean,
put-
pretty much at this point, the only people that are going to be left are Abyss, Bram, and Eric Young.
yeah, I mean, art
That's-
imitating
that's
life,
cool.
I guess, with, Dixie
Yeah.
Carter. That's the best way to put it.
The thing is, I'm not a fan. I'm not even going to. You know what? I've talked about TNA a million times over. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to discuss it. All I'm going to say is TNA. Good luck with your future endeavors.
Well,
Yep.
hold on. Let's give TNA one bit of credit with this next bit of news then to segue into here. Quoting from WrestleZone, as noted, TNA President Dixie Carter teased a big 2015 Bound for Glory announcement today, and according to PWInsider.com, it appears as if this year's pay-per-view will be held in Charlotte, North Carolina. The event will take place in October, as it does every year. So,
Charlotte,
good
okay.
good luck with that. Hope you make it to October, TNA. Doesn't their deal
Yeah,
wrap
Your
up
TV
right
deal
before
runs
that?
up in September, you fucking... If you're... Watch, they're going to charge fucking 40-something for that. It's going to be a $50, $60 pay-per-view. It's going to get under 10,000 buys, and it's going to bomb.
It's going to be a GFW show is what that's going to be. It's going to be TNA's Bound for Glory, sponsored by Global Force Wrestling. Because wasn't
Yeah.
that what last year's Bound for Glory was? It was TNA
I don't entirely
Wrestling.
hate TNA, but even I would say I wouldn't be, and I'm talking about in your currency, not mine. But even I wouldn't drop fucking $40 to $50 on a pay-per-view for that. Like,
No.
no, you don't have the muscle or credence to back it up anymore. And it was never
No.
amazingly strong, even at some of your strongest points. You can't charge $50. Jesus, I should be able to walk into a thrift store and pick it up for free.
Pick up Bram's contract for free.
Yeah, his 20 multi-year deals.
It does make you wonder how much WWE Network has put a nail in their coffin, though, with them still charging for pay-per-views.
Well, I mean, there would be $10 a month. You know, we're gonna watch. We got Battleground on Sunday for hopefully someone doesn't kick out at 2. We'll get to that later.
Ooh, good segue there. Good segue there, Nick, because that actually brings us to the next bit of news about Battleground. We've actually lost one of the participants in one of the matches at Battleground.
Yeah.
This is breaking news from July 15th. WWE champion pulled from Battleground pay-per-view due to staph infection. Pay-per-view match plans undecided. That, of course, being Ryback. WWE
Due to
announced
what infection?
What was that?
What infection?
Staph infection. Yeah.
It's basically in his in
It's
his
the
arm.
thing that nearly killed CM Punk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quoting from Ryback's official announcement on WWE.com, after Raw Monday, I woke up Tuesday morning. Oh, this is off the WWE Twitter. After Raw Monday, I woke up Tuesday morning before some media appearances with a severe staph infection in my right knee. I was brought to a hospital and put on strong antibiotics and had 90 cc's of fluid drained out of my knee in a 24-hour period. We caught it in time thanks to the great WWE medical team, and we'll make a full recovery.
Hopefully not Chris Amon.
Will be kept in the hospital for several days, and I will not be able to defend my Intercontinental Championship this Sunday. I am sorry to all my fans in the WWE. I will be back shortly, but I have to get this corrected, unquote. So the curse continues. Another one bites the dust in the Intercontinental Championship race. If that's the case, can we put the belt on R-Truth, please?
No.
Can we?
No.
Anyone would think
yes.
this is cursed.
Put it on Michael
Yes.
Cole, please.
Yeah, put it on R-Truth. Put it on Wade Barrett. Let's just put it on half of that undercard for the mid card that is just doing nothing right now. Unfortunately, more than likely, and I don't think that they've announced this, but have they announced that have they announced what they're gonna do with Big Show and Miz? Because I feel like what's probably gonna end up happening is a matchup between those two, and I could think of 1,000 other things I would rather watch than Big Show versus
Reunite Show Miz?
Miz. Ugh.
They'd probably fucking do that. So I should
just-
shut up. I shouldn't give them any ideas.
There's a sound of disgust in Miguel's voice.
I can't think of two wrestlers on the roster right now as far as main event talent that just does nothing for me than Big Show and Miz. I mean, Miz is basically just mini Jericho with none of the charisma, and Big Show... Big
Miz
Show
is
is...
easily hateable.
He's easily hateable, but, you know...
Almost
there-
not in
there's-
the right way.
Yeah, you
We
can
said
hate
this-
somebody, but you can respect what they do,
Yeah.
and the Miz is just not likable in that
You know,
regard.
Miz got, he was a guy on the real world.
Yeah.
And he
Look-
married Maurice.
Look, I'll give Miz credit for this. As far as somebody who came from the real world and came into the WWE, he has amounted to so much more than anybody expected him to be. I mean,
yeah, well,
he main evented a WrestleMania, for God's sakes. I'll give him credit
He
for
was
the...
the, and I feel bad. He was the
basically did so
afterthought.
much more. He did so much more than anybody expected him to, and also how much talent as his talent should have carried him to. I think in terms of the Miz, he's a better manager and a better talker than he is a wrestler.
And I
And
think
I-
he realizes that because if you've noticed, he's doing a lot more media stuff for WWE. He's kind of he's hosting the Tough Enough after show. I think WWE realizes that, hey, this guy is better at being an entertainer, not so much a wrestler. Let's
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
feed into that
At
and have him be
least,
kind of...
he got a lot farther than Jesse Goddard's over in TNA, and he was a guy who was on Big Brother 10 and 11 US, and then he became a wrestler, and I want to fucking facepalm that whole idea. He's still
Yeah.
around. They teamed him up with the poor man Zack Ryder. God, I fucking hate
No, they didn't. They're not the bromans anymore because now Robbie's the face and he's the heel. And basically, what TNA tend to do, they love crazy characters because every heel's a crazy character now. And Jesse Goddard's is the heel. He's the crazy heel, but who has a good body. That's literally who he is. And he's like, look at my muscles. I'm the best. And you just look at him and go...
Wasn't Rob Terry playing the Freak for a little while in TNA, where he'd have that like
the
Slipknot
menagerie.
looking mask? Yeah.
I think they eventually got rid of him because they tried to go through his contract, and he probably thought he was worth more than he was. Jeez.
I'll be honest, that was probably the most
Please excuse
likable.
me for a moment, ladies and gents. I've got to go for a whiz because I'm sick. I've been chaining, orange juice like somehow it's the magical cure. So give me a second. I've got to piss on board to cut down the drunkie.
All right.
Oh, poor Dave. I don't know if I felt bad or not for the comment I made on that Rock video that was posted, but we won't talk about that. Go to the Wrestling Revolution website, Facebook page if you want to know what I'm talking about. But as far as Rob Terry, I'll say this: his role as the Freak, I actually kind of liked. I thought that mask was cool. It was probably the best character they could have put him in. It was just way too late at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to make him kind of the UK's strong man, and it really didn't work. Although I did like him as the enforcer for the British Invasion. That was a very underrated tag team.
Yeah. I think
that was a great tag team. That was like just these heel British guys. They were a good fucking team, man. Oh,
yeah.
I just wish so much more that TNA always seemed to have a great tag team, and that, for years, you had teams like AMW and the Naturals and Triple X. They brought in Team 3D. You had all these great tag teams, and that was what WWE didn't have at the time. Is there wasn't a big focus on tag team wrestling. And then all of a sudden you got TNA and they put on these matches instead of Triple X, all favorite matches.
I'm more to that's just that was Triple X and LAX.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of AJ Styles and Daniels against Triple X.
LAX.
Nice. Yeah, the tag team wrestling in that company goes so long. Yes, forget the electrified steel cage match. Russo.
Cage match. I'd love to see a cage match.
Electrified steel cage match. Good God. Like, the crowd was chanting Fire Russo, and then he's like, Russo had nothing to do with that segment. Yay!
We'll save that for our Russo.
Oh, God. I can't wait.
The one interesting to the main. Yeah. Big guy to American big guy, Ryback. What do you think of this? I think it's fortunate because Ryback was really starting to build up a lot of that momentum. And I'll be honest, I do like I've always been a fan. I got into it when we started this year. I like him really in the main event. Still really guy.
When they were built, and then he ran to the wall that is Superstar. That was amazing. He's finally starting to get that momentum back, I feel. They're finally getting they're getting going. He's got the Intercontinental title. He's, going through everybody. He's taking on all the comers, and then affection. I hope he was smart enough to say, okay, do not let Chris Heyman take care of me. He's just gonna fucking feed me Z-Packs.
I just hope that this doesn't derail whatever push they had, because I'd hate to have him get stuck in that lower mid-card hell that they put guys in when they just have nothing to do for them, because Ryback is better than that. I think Ryback is a solid upper mid-card guy. Yeah, he's not very talented in the ring, but, he's got enough of a presence, and they can hide it, with the right opponents. That's what you do.
Exactly. You get guys that are going to bump like a motherfucker for him. He could ragdoll him around the ring.
Got personality and credibility more than his skill level would determine, if that makes sense. So
And
in
he's
the right
likable.
hands, in the right hands, he could be used in a very, very, valid way. But
And
that's
it's not
the
like
term, though, in the right hands.
it's not like Sheamus, where I'm just not a big fan of Sheamus. I think he's just way too bland for me. Like Ryback, if you give him the platform, can be very talented, can be very funny. I mean, I remember his stuff with Curtis Axel when he would do commentary during tag team matches. You know, when they would give him the mic, the guy was on point. You know, the guy really. You really felt like this guy was likable. I mean, even when CM Punk would shit on him in interviews and whatnot, I still was a fan of Ryback. I still was pro Ryback. I really want this guy to be a big star in WWE, and I'm worried that this time off, they'll forget about him. Burhan, you've been a little bit quiet about the matter. What's your thoughts on Ryback?
There's two sides to Ryback. Originally, I was a big fan of his. I think he would have done well with the brand extension. The days when you had like the two titles, the two world championships, two Money in the Banks. I think in terms for the big guy, I don't see him as a world champion anytime soon. I don't see him as a main event player anytime soon because he's had a lot of stop and starts. In terms of his character, he doesn't really. They don't really know what to do with him. He's trying to come into his own. He's trying to talk, but I don't think they know how they're gonna progress with him. And
Could you argue that's half the problem, which is if he had a decent sense of momentum behind him and ran for a while, then it might lead somewhere. But because, as you said, his starts and his stops and stuff like that, he's not really getting a chance to sort of put character out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not just that as well. He's very stiff. You can tell how green he is as a character, and he has come into his own a little bit more. I think he needs a lot more cardio conditioning because he's more of that power guy who seems to be very exhausted when he gets in the ring. He's good in big match situations like what happened with him and CM Punk.
You're going to say he's good in bed. I just said the B. Sorry, mate.
Their feud is very underrated in a sense, even though Punk said that Ryback kind of injured him. I think Punk either made him look really good or Ryback was really good in his matches with Punk. I think as a character, my opinion would be once he comes back from injury, give him another run, see what happens. But I don't see him. I see him as a career mid-carder now because there's too many stop and starts. And guys, if you've given that many opportunities to, most guys have kind of like Barrett, for instance. I'm never going to see Barrett in front of the World Championship ever again. No. And it's a shame. They've given him so many stop and starts that they've killed any credibility the guy has. Yeah. So, in terms of Ryback, that's the same thing.
Well, in terms of Ryback, I think we can all agree. I think they made a big mistake not putting the belt on him against Punk. I think when he lost that matchup against him, and they tried to hide it as best as they could, that really killed a lot of his momentum. I think had he won the belt, we would be looking at the next big star in WWE. I think he could have really ridden that rise. I hate to say it, but I think he could have been as close as we could have gotten in the quote-unquote reality era to a Bill Goldberg. I think he could have been that monster that people could have gotten behind had they put the belt on him and just continued from there. But they had to keep the belt on Punk, and Cena was out at the time with his, I think it was the elbow injury. There was just nowhere they could go with that, and they made the best, future decision. But, man, that really did derail him. And then from there, like you said, it was start, stop, start, stop. It's unfortunate because, like I said, I like the big man. I think Feed Me More has really caught on. I think if WWE really wanted to, they could make a star out of him. But, it's WWE. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But we'll see how it goes. My big question, and I think the question we need to ask before we move on is, what do you do with the IC belt now? They have to take the belt off of him if he's going to be out for a long time. I mean, they don't have to, but this is WWE we're talking about. Where do you go? Because it seems like they were building up to either Big Show or The Miz taking the belt off of them. Neither one, to me, should get the belt at all. I don't want The Miz with it.
It's been automatically relegated to a lesser event. Not their fault.
I know what's going to happen. Show is going to get the title. And Big Show is going to have it as part of the Authority angle. The thing is, this is the reason why I have an issue with the Authority. They need to cement themselves as heels. They should be no heel face tactics that these guys use because it makes no sense. It's like Vince McMahon when he was feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin, making decisions that went against his own team, the corporation. It would be stupid. They need to focus on what makes these guys work, and it's as a unit. There's supposed to be a dominant stable that cares what's best for business, aka the heels that care about what's best for business. And what they're doing at the moment, it boggles the mind, you know. It just they, in my opinion,
They think
Show
they know
has
best,
has
and
the
they
belt.
don't.
Yeah, Show has the belt. It turns Miz face, which is not going to be the great thing to do. Show becomes a dominant Intercontinental Champion until Ryback comes back and then takes the title back, or they elevate someone into that spot to face Show to take the championship. Because the IC title is supposed to be the upper mid card title to the United States Championship, which is the mid card championship, but they've kind of switched now. The IC title is now the lower title to the US title was the upper mid card one.
Yeah, the U.S. belt, they've been actually doing very well with
I love
elevating.
Cesaro with it. Hey, you know what? Cesaro, IC champion. That would be fucking spectacular.
But according
Maybe
to
they add
Vince,
him
he
as a
can't
surprise.
connect with the crowd. What the fuck?
They add him as a surprise entrant to the IC championship match and make it a three-way. Ooh, orgasm. Can someone say, like, fucking wrestling slobberfest? I would fucking dribble. I'll drool.
Oh god! Speaking of that,
Sorry.
yeah, I saw that whole thing on Raw
Cigarettes.
Monday night when Rusev comes down like, oh, I've seen this, and now I'm working Monday night, by the way, so I'm kind of catching this like after work, and of course, we want to talk about the U.S. title, the Diva thing first, and then go on to.
Well, I would say let's talk about the Diva thing, and we'll transition into Rusev because Burhan brought up the authority and kind of.
Right.
I know he has a
All
big
right.
problem with that. So
Yeah,
let's talk about that. The NXT Divas debuted
Oh
on
my
Raw.
god! Yeah, I'm at work and I'm on my lunch break, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna turn on Raw. I'm gonna eat my lunch or dinner, whatever, slice of pizza, whatever the fuck, and I'm gonna flip on and see what's going on. Boy, the fuck am I shocked when I see this fiery redhead on the TV, and I realize it's Becky Lynch. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
I'm glad they're there, but such a wrong way to plug them. Such a wrong way.
Now elaborate on that, because you just felt could have been
The
done
thing
better.
is, right? Paige was the one spearheading this.
Right.
Paige was the one who was taking her lumps. Paige was the one who was getting the aggro from the Bellas. She was the one who's trying to spearhead a movement. And then Stephanie out of nowhere comes in and says, "Yeah, I like the cut of your jib. Let's do it this way." And I'm like, what? Why? And you can sit there and go, well, she has a problem with Brie. Yeah, but it still doesn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, Burhan. She needed to be the one to get all the credit for it because it's Stephanie McMahon we're talking about.
Yeah, but
Right.
it's anti-authority. It's not what the authority would be doing.
Here's the thing: it doesn't matter. And
They were doing it, and then she with her.
It was
I would
5
have
on
had
5,
the
and Bailey was going to
Yeah,
come up
I
with something
would have
like
had the Bellas introduce a fourth member to their Bella clique. Someone
which
from
should have
Total
been
Divas.
Naomi, and then you would have had the dynamic that Naomi has problems with both of them, but
Yeah,
and then you could have done the
you'd
5 on
have
5, but
Paige. Yeah, and then have Paige kind of.
who knows? They kind of all had it. They had Charlotte and Paige and Becky on, and it's with
it was something that came and brought the Divas. But
you kind of know them to the team and so they wasn't late,
in that team where you don't work with the guy,
Mhm.
but the teacher goes, you know, like, Nick, you're with Steve, and you're like, "Hey, no, you're with them." Yeah, you go there out of that team. I was like, I don't know. You've got, like, you rich kid, ball kid, yeah, you go over these guys. And they're standing there trying to reach up, twiddling. They
Just like they were on as a favourite. They don't listen to these fucking.
tries to shove crayons in Nick's mouth, or
I'm thinking it's more the opposite. Like it's like, hey, you know, I want to hang out with Burhan. No, we need to keep you with Jorge. Just trust me. We need to keep you over there.
Yeah,
you're the kid, you're the next kid. Yeah, that's the thing. It was like when Sykes came out, like, oh yeah, we're gonna because you're black, we're gonna team the black girl with you guys.
Imagine the teacher would make you go and stand in the corner, Burhan, because you're expressing an opinion and you don't agree with and felt very uncomfortable.
But do you know what I mean? It's one of those things where I felt they could have made it a lot bigger, and they made it a lot more puzzling. What I do hope to recover from that, because I think people are going to forget this, if these girls have an amazing match at Battleground, which I think they will.
And then they need to go over. If something happens, even if it's a fuck finish and Nikki goes over on any of them, that's it. It's done. You have one shot to establish these women as something better.
Oh God,
and
yes.
better. And even if you put them in there and they have a nice, 45-minute matchup, if they get the visual pin, or if they get pinned down, it's going to kill any sort of momentum. And that's my biggest fear. I want to be behind this new diva movement.
Yes.
I have no faith in
This
WWE,
is what
though. I'm
scares
sorry.
me.
Well, the way that they've introduced it shows how badly they're booking it. People don't have an issue with the divas. This is what people don't understand. They give divas a chance movement. People don't give a shit that they're doing it with the NXT divas or they're doing it with the Raw divas. What
People have a problem with the quality of their matches.
And also the writing. One minute they have a kind of a Broadway match. And another minute they'll have a match which is like 2 seconds on a major pay-per-view. You don't want to do that.
Well, you know why that's the case, right?
Vince.
No, not even Vince. It's actually the producers on Total Divas. It's already been established that anything that happens on the Divas on Raw has to coincide with whatever the producers on Total Divas are doing because they want cohesion with that.
Oh, I got no issue Bella. I think Brie Bella is a credible wrestler in her own right, especially seeing some of the great matches she's had with Paige.
Are we talking Brie or Nikki? Because I've actually heard a lot of bad stuff about Brie. I've heard a lot of people overrate her.
Brie has a lot more talent in comparison to Big Tits McGee.
Well, then again, look who Brie married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think it's the Brian Seaman. That's probably what's done it. But I've seen her.
I think there's an elephant in the room here, though, isn't there, Burhan? Which is, you understand why they keep attractive people around because they feel that that's what people want to watch them for, but it doesn't matter because they get wrestled. Doing
True.
Miguel on, which is,
Or I will say this, or if you're going to have a division of nothing but pretty people that are just there for sex appeal, don't try to promote it as this athletic division of workers and whatnot, because they try to have their cake and eat it too. And I think back to the 90s. They had, very voluptuous, enhanced women on the roster, but they were like, yeah, they're there because they look good. What about it? We got women that are in Playboy and they're doing all the fitness magazines. They had no qualms about that. And,
be honest about product, basically.
Yeah. And I was okay with that. Obviously I was 12 years old. You damn well believe it. I was okay with that. But today they have that now. But
funny, but I don't understand why. Sorry.
That thing, it's one of those where I like I think Brie has a huge upside to her. In terms of Boobies McGee, one, she should stop doing the elbow. The dusty elbow thing is annoying because she doesn't have the
Yes.
power to pack that fucking elbow. You know, her arm looks like a fucking string of spaghetti. You have to have that power. Also, the rack attack annoys me. One, it's called the rack attack.
Hello.
Two,
Yeah.
it's just she doesn't have the power to back it up, and that's where the problem lies. She looks super thin. Yes, I get it. She's a fitness model. That's what she's supposed to be, right? And I have no issue with the fact that she's with John Cena, but at the same time, she's not the type of person who should be having long runs with the World Championship.
Well, exactly, because from that point of perspective, you know, the fact that she's a fitness model and they want to market her and make her, you know, because it's sports entertainment, into a real, you know, sort of wrestler and stuff. But from a basic point of pure, you know, body physics and stuff like that, you aren't going to be able to throw down with the other people in that state.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when it comes to the Divas division, it needs to be who's the better worker. And if Naomi got the championship, I wouldn't have had an issue with it because she's someone that looks like you could build a division around her.
And she's actually talented.
Yeah, and especially with the heat that she had, but they kind of put a stop to it. The same thing went for Paige, and they put a stop to it. And
God forbid, we can't have actual talent in our division. That scares us now.
yeah, and now with the whole give divas a chance bullshit they're doing with the NXT divas, they need
It's all a
to
facade.
they need to see it through. They're good-looking women that can work, and the thing about it is they use the size.
Here's an example of an amazing-looking woman that could work. She picked up the business and became one of the best of all time. You know, Lita, Mickie James. I mean, hello, you had amazing-looking women that were actually fucking talented. And look what they did with Mickie James. Oh, yeah, I mentioned Trish. You look at Mickie James and look what they did with her near the end. Piggy James. What the fuck?
You can blame Kevin Dunn for that, from what I've heard.
Fuck that bucktooth motherfucker.
Yeah, well, he's gone. Isn't he working for The Rock now or something?
No, that's Brian Gewirtz. Brian Gewirtz is working with Rock. Kevin Dunn's never gonna. You'll kill him before he ever gets let go by Vince.
Is Kevin Dunn the guy with the bunny rabbit teeth?
Yes.
Yeah, why do you think
I think he's the I think he's head of production, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god, he's gotta be losing his fucking mind, by the way, between Lucha Underground, all the accents. You got Becky Lynch. You've got look at all the guys that are in the company that have had fucking actors. Well, look at the U.S. title segments.
It's okay, Nick. It's okay. Here's what they're gonna do with Becky Lynch. They'll push her for a little bit, and then they'll pair her with Sheamus.
I would love to see an Irish, like a Scottish, Irish team have him, Finn Balor, Becky Lynch, like the three of them.
I think Sheamus would devalue Becky Lynch. Honestly,
and
he would devalue her like a fox. Sorry.
Oh Jesus. Oh god damn it, Burhan. But do you think that would actually devalue the talent that Becky and Finn have? They're just gonna put him with Sheamus just because they're all Irish.
Well, who cares about Sheamus though? That's the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly. You could probably team, Finn and Becky together as, kind of as allies, and it would work because people would be able to see past the fact that and see the actual talent these two have.
Well, we talked about Finn Balor, obviously, which leads us into NXT. Do we want to talk about the big news, or do you want to talk about Rusev? Because I know you had something to say about Rusev real quick.
Okay, let's talk about Rusev a little bit. I agree with what Nick was saying about the idea behind it. 1 minute, it's John Cena versus Kevin Owens and Cesaro in this nice little triple threat feud. Then suddenly you're adding Rusev into the mix for no reason. And then Rusev dominates everybody.
Rusev came out first. And I was watching, okay, I've seen this story before. I know how it fucking ends. But then here comes Kevin Owens, and him and Rusev have a really funny back and forth. I mean, it is freaking hilarious. And then here comes Cesaro. You get this amazing triple threat match. Owens walks out partway through, and it's like, yeah, I've seen this story. I know how it's going to fucking end. It ended up just being a complete roundabout way just for Owens to come in and cause the DQ.
I'm watching the clips from Raw with Owens and Cesaro and Rusev. I would not mind seeing a Cesaro-Rusev feud. I know he's got the thing with Dolph, which I could care less about, because can we just say that this experiment with Dolph and Lana just isn't working?
It's not working. It's
about as awkward as like any like relationship you see in Hollywood that just doesn't work. It's on par with like Bennifer, like Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. It's like two pretty people that say that they're together, but you don't buy it one bit. And that's basically how I feel with these two.
Dave, elephant in the room.
Sorry, I was ordering my takeaway for tomorrow in advance. True story.
Ooh, what are you ordering?
Mixed shish and doner kebab, large fries, pot of chili sauce, pot of garlic mayonnaise, and a 2-litre bottle of Pepsi Max. I thought it's a good order.
When I come see you, that's what you're going to order for me too.
Maybe.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying, as far as Cesaro and Rusev, I could see a feud with those two just throwing each other around.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, you're going to see these two in a sort of a smash mouth type match. I love Cesaro. I think he's got a total big upside. And he's probably
he's talented. He's strong as fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah, they are now allowing him to shine. And because he has proven as a guy who can work like a fucking workhorse. He can do everything.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that he was lacking was a mouth. Even though he has a good set of mic skills, but they won't let him talk. And then they partnered him with Heyman and then totally killed it because Heyman kept promoting Brock while he was with him. It didn't work. And then they kept doing heel, face. And now they're
flip-flop, what the fuck?
Yeah, then now they're allowing him to be a proper face, and it works. It's great. It's beautiful. It's sexy. It makes me want to jizz in my pants. It's that great. And he's a guy who, to me, with the way that the WWE...
Not when I'm ordering fucking mayonnaise, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, it does. As it's going in the men's division, like the World Championship, the IC title, the United States Championship, with Kevin Owens, you've got him on the roster. You've got Samoa Joe. You've got all those types of guys on the roster who are workers. Cesaro should be in that mix and be allowed to shine. And Triple H, I think, is knowing this, has decided, you know what? Let's let the guy shine. Let's put him in this. He could be a guy that could go in a Broadway. He could work in a cage match. He could work in anything. And I think if you want to give him a mouthpiece, then give him a mouthpiece. But let that guy work with Cesaro. Or allow Cesaro to talk in his own and organically give him the tools to do it. And I think that's where the problem lies. Vince doesn't see it, but everyone else does.
Well, because Vince is fucking out of touch.
Well, since you're talking about Vince being out of touch and, you know, recent news kind of not so much showing that as, you know, something that I guarantee you was not a Vince decision. Do we want to talk about NXT? Or do we have anything else that we need to say about Rusev and whatnot? Anybody else need to say their piece about Rusev?
He's a hell of a worker. Fuck, he hasn't really amounted to much in the last couple months since he ran into the wall that is John Cena.
And why Summer Rae? I don't get that thing. Did they just have nothing to do for Summer Rae and they were like, well, let's just put him with Rusev because I just don't see
Lana,
it either.
I guess.
I mean, fuck, Emma's not doing anything, and I mentioned that before. I was going to make the point when we were talking about the divas. I mean, if there's one diva I would probably keep around after firebombing the rest of the division, I'd probably keep Emma around because I think she's so underutilized on that roster. We know why.
International, you know, she's Australian too, so she can open up a lot of big things. She could be like your Australian ambassador.
More time to develop as a character, in my opinion. I'm glad that they reintroduced her to NXT. I'm glad she's playing the heel character now, and she seems to be mentor to Dana Brooke, which Dana Brooke being her muscle and Emma being the kind of the work of the two. I like that. Let them dominate NXT. Hell, even give Emma the NXT championship and allow the other girls to come up to the roster while she builds a division down there. I have no issue on that, you know, at all.
Yeah, I think Summer Rae does not work with Rusev. I don't know where that's going to go. I still don't know where they're going with Lana. They seem to be kind of shedding that Russian image little by little. I mean, I don't know how they're going to transition her. It's clear they want to Americanize her. I don't know how you do that in a tasteful way, but I don't know what they're going to do.
They should do like a brainwashing program, and then she comes out and she's like an American girl. What happened to your accent? Or do what they did with Kofi, and they'll be like, wait a minute.
Sorry, this is completely irrelevant, but just to make everyone's mouths water, because I'm ordering in advance, this is the menu for my kebab shop I go to on a Saturday night. It's in the comment section.
I'll
Didn't you wish you had a kebab shop this good?
No, we just have stuff like Chipotle, which is actually really fucking good. But yeah, they're a burrito shop. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I
You think it's credible though? It'll actually happen, or is that just us wishfully thinking?
Cesaro and Rusev, I think, has to eventually happen. I mean, with as many people as they have the 3 hours they're doing, it's
But oh Jesus!
Cesaro,
Xavier
yes,
yelled,
but
Jesus.
Big Show, like I said, I'm just done with Show. I really am. I can't.
I think he's got a lot more fuel in the tank. I don't understand why people have got such an issue with him. He's
I think it's
one of those
because
guys-
him. I think it's because him more than anybody else just feels old more than any other wrestler. I think people have just seen him do everything several times. I think people are just done. I think there's only
well,
so
basically,
long.
he's worn out his welcome. Not in a bad way, but he's just covered everything. And
Yeah.
where do you go?
I think the Intercontinental Championship would be a great way to go for Show because Show has never won that title.
Yeah, he has. He beat Del Rio for it, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was the world title, wasn't it?
No, it was
world-
the IC belt. Let
No,
me
it
check.
was world title, World Heavyweight Championship, bro.
Yeah, it's world heavyweight.
Del Rio's never been an Intercontinental Champion either. Del Rio's never won a mid-card championship.
Yep.
Hold on, I could have sworn he won the IC
So
belt.
has never won the IC belt. Kane has numerous times.
Yep.
So has Triple H.
Yep.
Hold on, folks. Live, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says here.
Oh, God, what the hell was that?
Let's see. Continental. Let's see. Big Show's first Intercontinental title reign. WWE.com. Let's see. When the world's largest athlete entered Sun Life Stadium to challenge Cody Rhodes for his title at WrestleMania, he would not
Oh,
only...
yeah.
Yeah,
he
so
won
it was at WrestleMania. It was at WrestleMania
Yeah, and then Rhodes won it back when Big Show put his foot through a table.
because I remember that he made a big deal about it. He was crying and it was all this celebration. Yeah, it was 28 because I actually watched that. That was the last WrestleMania I saw live.
Wow.
That was when The Miz defended the WWE.
No, that
champ-
was 27 when Miz was the afterthought in the main.
Oh,
28
man,
was Rock's-
28 was once out of twice in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And by the way, it wasn't live. I just happened to be that was the last one that I watched on pay-per-view. Since then I haven't really watched another WrestleMania on pay-per-view.
Well, you're
But
watching
yeah,
on
I
WWE
knew-
Network for $9.99 a month.
Yep.
I'll stick with Hulu. We get 90 minute episodes of Raw.
Completely random, I know, but I just got to ask, how far are you into Doctor Who now, out of curiosity?
I just finished the episode where him and his new companion went back to New Earth and they were in the underground car system in New Manhattan. I just finished
Oh,
that
they get
episode.
stuck in the cars for ages.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad episode.
No, that's not a bad episode. I'm starting to feel out this new companion. I like her. I just don't feel the same relationship that he and Rose had. But we'll see where it goes from there.
Anyway,
But yeah.
interlude aside, sorry, I'm just curious.
Oh no, yeah, fair enough.
I'm just happy you're in the fold of Doctor Who fans now, is all I'm saying.
I'm working my way up there. You know, hopefully soon enough we can do an episode where we talk about it. I'm actually planning on that at some point. But yeah, as far as you mentioned strong style and Japanese style, let's talk about probably one of the biggest news that came out today. Well, yesterday actually. A certain legend is going to be making his appearance at the NXT Takeover event in Brooklyn. Burhan, Nick, since it is your show technically,
Yeah.
do you want to announce who it is?
Jushin Thunder Liger.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Joking.
What was that?
I said who? I was like, I'm joking.
No, it is in fact from WrestleZone. WWE
No, I said
and
I
NXT.
was joking when I said who.
Ah,
I know who he
Okay.
is.
so yeah, Jushin Thunder Liger. It was announced on WWE actually that he's going to be brought in for the NXT Takeover special, and he'll be competing against Tyler Breeze, which I would have put him against Prince Devitt, Finn Balor. But Tyler Breeze is no slouch either.
Does anyone else think that Prince Devitt, aka Finn Balor, is going to be found out as a heel, and that he was the one who took out Itami?
I get the feeling that's a logical way they could go with it. Because here's the thing, NXT logic, it's here. God.
Yeah, I could see that. And those two would tear the house down, honestly. I don't know where they want to go with Finn Balor. I think they see a future in that gimmick, but I don't know if they want to go a heel route, because that's usually not where a gimmick like that would go. They would try to keep him. They would try to keep the positive responses. So I don't know about that, but yeah, I think we're missing the bigger point. The fact that WWE is reaching out to a Japanese wrestler that isn't signed to them to come in and do a show. And correct me if I'm wrong, is Liger still signed with the promotion in Japan?
He is. I think the reason why they're doing that is because at the moment they're trying to contract as many indie talents as possible to get on NXT. So now, instead of people going to Ring of Honor or going to, say, like GFW or anything like that, they can actually have a chance to go to a WWE and get signed for NXT as a part-time, independent wrestler. And then what happens is, if they get popular enough, or if they are popular enough and they sell enough T-shirts, Triple H, like what happened with Joe, Triple H, what was that?
That's not me. I think it's on your end.
Nick, is that you?
Nope.
Dave, is that you?
That's not me. I can hear
What
it in
the
the background. So.
Fuck?
Yeah, someone was trying to call me from Facebook. That was very weird. The fact is, when it comes to like those types of characters, it works really well. And what they're trying to do now is they're trying to develop their own independent company in a sense. Like Shane McMahon wanted with ECW, and Triple H has put his own spin on it. I like this. I like the way NXT is doing things. I like the way it's going. And we're going to have potential to see guys like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, people that usually may not get signed by the WWE, but have an opportunity to actually work with the WWE similar to the way they work with TNA. And I have no issue with it whatsoever, at all.
I'm not looking that far into the future in this case. And I'm not doing it to make WWE look bad, but to me, I think first and foremost, this was a way of NXT and specifically Triple H kind of giving a fuck you to Ring of Honor, because they've kind of had an issue with Ring of Honor as of late. Ever since Ring of Honor got started really pushing forward with their merchandising, they struck the deal with that independent figure company to make figures, and one of them happens to be Kevin Steen.
Oh, is that the Ring of Honor one? Yeah.
Yeah, and Ring of Honor, I think, has a show in the New York area the same night. So I think this was kind of their way of kind of sticking it to Ring of Honor by getting a guy who just recently appeared for Ring of Honor. It says here that he recently did a television taping for Ring of Honor where he fought Dalton Castle. I think this is them kind of giving an FU to Ring of Honor and kind of taking away their limelight.
Yeah.
I would love to think that this was, done more as a future thing where it's like, yeah, let's start bringing more guys in like this. And I do think Triple H does want to do that. There's a whole rumor going around that Triple H mostly is doing this to kind of undercut the indies of sorts and kind of make NXT the new indie, number one. I could see them doing that. I think what this proves to me more than anything is Vince is willing to let Triple H run NXT how he wants to, because, you look back on Vince's MO when it comes to working with talents outside of the company. I mean, heck, a couple months back, wasn't there Daniel Bryan was pushing for a matchup against Nakamura at the shows in Japan, which unfortunately never happened with because of his injury. But
that would have been
WWE,
awesome.
Yeah, that WWE kind of put the thumbs down on that. Now they're letting Triple H bring in this legendary Japanese wrestler to come in and work a show for NXT. it shows that they have faith in Triple H and where NXT is going, and I think that's a good thing because I think I think Triple H has more of a thumb on the pulse of talent more than Vince does. I think Vince focuses way too much on the TV
but that's
aspect.
because Triple H has got a good people around him who help him see talent. Apparently, he's got like monitors in his office that are tuned into the competition because he watches Ring of Honor. He's
got cameras everywhere, even in the men's room.
Oh
no,
God!
But the thing is, I think with that's a good idea because you always have to be scouting talent. When you're a professional football coach, you're scouting talent from other teams. If you're a hockey coach, you'll be looking everywhere, including the Canadian division.
That's not entirely true in this country, Burhan. That's what you have a player, a manager for outside of the coaching division, who entire goal is to scope. This isn't relevant, but it might be in some degree. That scope talents, and then the manager of the team and the person who's hired as the sports coach to look for talents because the manager of the team thinks it should be his job always creates a massive backlash. So I don't know if that happens in WWE, but that's been many a reason a manager or a product has failed.
There usually is a disagreement in terms of who does what. But in terms of what Triple H has got at the moment, he's managed to get the right people around him who are not counterproductive to what he's doing. This isn't the days of Vince
Positive
where
people who are a bunch of fucking yes men.
Pretty much, or people who want to put someone down or want to make themselves look like they've got a job when they're not even doing anything. And, like what Punk was going on about, Punk, you're beating all three of them, but remember, got to make them look strong.
Real strong.
And then goes away. And then Punk's like, oh, by the way, Punk, remember you're winning? But just to let you know, got to make him look real strong. And he's like, well, he could beat me. That'll make him look strong. No. You're going to win. Just going to make him look strong. Walk away.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't know what to think about this because I like the fact that Triple H is kind of making developmental into this full-fledged thing, but at the same time, if it's true that he wants to do it to kind of undercut the indies, I would hate to see his influence kind of, hobble companies like Ring of Honor who are really starting to pick up steam, or even places like GFW. I mean, I know we shit on GFW, but I mean, it has its place. I mean, especially once TNA goes out, it's going to have its spot to fill to an extent. I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about all of this.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't see GFW working. That's me. I think if I was Jarrett, I would have been looking at ways to kind of acquire TNA and maybe look at directing the company and focusing the company at producing talent, marketing talent, and getting themselves to that level where they're the number 2 company by promoting it properly. I think one of the issues that TNA had was the fact that they wouldn't allow talents to go on radio shows. They wouldn't allow talents to promote themselves. They wouldn't have the world champion go and do stuff. They wouldn't create connections with like groups like Make-A-Wish, so to speak, as well. And they never had that breakout star because they never allowed the person to become their own brand. They just kept them in a bubble. Right. When you have a world champion, it's like having a leading man in a movie. You've got to allow that person to do the tours, to do the shows, to do the podcasts, to show their chops and who they are, even though you've got loads of others to do it. And you can do that with a nice marketing team that allows you to market those wrestlers and their brands. Then you can sell the T-shirts. Then you can work on the merchandising. Then you can work on getting this guy on TV to like show himself on TV shows. But they just don't do it. And kind of that's what TNA was.
To an extent, I think WWE. Oh, are we talking about WWE or GFW?
I say GFW, but I'm talking about like TNA. I think GFW is going to be suffering from the same problems because it's a smaller company and the funding is going to run out.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I like I said, another big fear I have is I know Triple H wants to bring in guys like AJ Styles and all these other talents from the indies. Here's my question, though. At the end of the day, developmental is still developmental. The inevitable thing that they look for is to bring guys to the main roster. where do you see a lot of these guys going? Do you really have faith that Vince, once he gets a hold of these indie guys, will really do something with them? I know the
I think
Shield and Kevin Owens.
Triple H will probably have his 2 cents. I think the reason why Owens is so good,
because otherwise, I fear that Vince will just keep them as background players or stuff he can use when he needs to,
yeah,
and have no real intention of putting towards the main, core. If that makes sense.
I will see this. I think Vince will eventually leave the running of the company to,
Triple
Triple
H.
H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even Vince has to look at him and just go, I should stop meddling because this is a really strong product right now and it clearly works and the bloke who's running it is clearly invested in it and is making all the right decisions. Well, I mean, I know he's arrogant, but you would think he would just pull out and just go, you know what? This is just about perfect in this person's hands. Do I really need to meddle with it and possibly fuck it up? Then
Really?
obviously it's Vince. He's gonna at some point, let's be honest.
Yeah. He's out of touch. You know what? I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. We're getting Tyler Breeze versus Jushin Liger, so fuck it. I'm going to sit back and goddamn enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing we can do is kind of just enjoy it for what it is. Let's not...
Yeah, ignore the
dump all
politics between the two characters behind it, because at the end of the day, well, the one behind it, the one meddling, which is we can't control anything over that, so just sit back and enjoy the ride. That's all you can do.
Fair enough.
Well, because
Right.
sometimes when you worry about politics too much, it kind of detracts from the show for you, even though you would love the show, but you worry about what you would like to go on behind. And so you're overthinking and over-analyzing something that you have no real control over. So.
Everyone's an armchair booker. When it comes to talent, when it comes to the way that you want it booked, like for me, as I said, if I booked the Divas thing, I would have booked it as in Paige was getting overrun. There was 4 people that would they added an extra person to the Bellas team a couple of weeks back, and then the NXT Divas would come in and take on they would all kind of take down the Bellas army, and then the next week these girls would come out and say why they're there. You could have Sasha Banks say she's teaming up with these other girls because she heard the Bellas talking trash about them being the personification of what a women's champion is, and that the fact that they gave the Divas a chance, and everybody else has fallen to the Bellas. And Sasha Banks could say that the Divas division needs a real champion, so that's the NXT champion. Alliance is easy, but talking about women being the NXT. Yeah, the anti, so the workers versus the Total Divas, and we'd have a big matchup in a sense, and then you'd have the act against Nikki, Banks, challenging and then have Sasha beat her. Why can't he beat the fucking champion? Oh my god. And that we have a big match against the championship. He puts that in that she wants to go shot the Divas Championship, and then Charlotte goes, "No, I'm here to be the most dominant diva on the roster. I want to shot the Divas Champion." And then you can have Becky Lynch say, "No, I want a shot." And these 3 divas wanting a shot. Then you got Paige who's in there as well, and you can even have Naomi come in and say, "I want a shot too." And then you can make it into to me, I would love to see a divas version of the championship scramble match and have all these women in kind of a battle royal type situation.
Yes.
And going after Nikki, and then what you do is you end up having Sasha Banks win the Divas Championship, and then have her forfeit the NXT title on an episode of NXT. And then we have these other divas challenging her, going after her. She says she's a fighting champion. Have Nikki get her rematch and Sasha defeating her,
Yeah.
and then Sasha saying, I'm the queen bee, I'm the boss of the divas division. Now it's my time, and have her versus like everybody else, and putting on spectacular matches and wrestling clinics on Raw, SmackDown, and basically become the babyface, and then have the other girls ingrained in those storylines as well, trying to get the championships, and eventually it will lead up to a big match where, say, either Charlotte or Becky Lynch or even Paige wins the title off of Sasha Banks after having a solid reign, because that's the key here. People want to see workers. They don't want to see Nikki.
Lookers.
They don't want to see Brie. They don't want to see Alicia Fox. I love Alicia Fox to pieces, but she's not a worker. She's kind of a pretty girl who can do a few funny moves in a match and look nice. But these women would up the level of the Divas division to a point where you get to see more storylines, more feuds, have better matches written for these girls, and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. In my,
Good call.
in my opinion,
Yeah.
that's for me. If I was booking that, that's how I would have booked it. That's how I would have done it. And I think by making it competitive and focus on competition rather than bitchy Total Divas shit, that would work. And I think
Right.
the title needs to stay away from Total Divas, and Total Divas needs to stay away from the title.
Yes. Yeah. Where is Bailey still hurt, or is? Because I think she broke her hand or something, and
I think so,
I-
yeah.
I
okay.
haven't
So
heard anything about that, honestly.
I've seen pictures on Instagram of her. She's got a cast on her hand, but
That's
so,
probably
yeah,
why
she's
they
still-
didn't bring her up.
Might be, yeah, which is unfortunate. I mean, I see Bailey being the one to take the title off of Sasha Banks.
I think now that they're bringing up this crop of divas from NXT, I think Bailey's probably going to be the next big star in that company.
Well, she is over. She is over.
She's over, but I've said it before. I think a gimmick like hers does not need the belt. I mean, I think she could go her entire run in NXT and never get the title. I said it before. I think she is the NXT Divas equivalent of a Tommy Dreamer, a very likable babyface that I don't think really needs the belt. I think her chasing after it and being kind
That's
of
where
the
the money
plucky baby.
is.
Yeah, that's where the money is. I think if it was the title, that's like, to the. I think that only works. But yeah, I want to do a rundown of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, we can
after
do it.
this.
We can do it real quick. I think we can. There's not really much to go over to really give a shit about, except for.
Because I really do want to talk about this bit of news because it is a big deal. It's coming out of Mexico, which, by the way, just as a heads up, they found Del Rio. He hasn't said why he no-showed the autism event, but fuck it.
Who cares?
This is a bit of news from uprocks.com. The Mexican government has signed a historic deal to provide health care for pro wrestlers. From uprocks.com. President of Mexico City Wrestling, El Fantasma, and Mexican Health Secretary Dr. Armando Ahud Ortega has just signed a historic agreement that could change the entire wrestling industry in Mexico. Professional wrestlers in Mexico and their families will now be covered by a insurance program. This is via
Are they
the
not?
Fight
Sorry,
Network.
can I plead ignorant right now? Because obviously it's Mexico, which is alien to me when it comes to politics and healthcare and stuff like that. How did their healthcare system currently function before this, agreement was signed?
I would say similar to how we have it right now, where it's your own responsibility. You have to cover your own health care, basically, and you have to basically, get
But
the insurance.
It sounded like they were exempt from this or something because of the career they chose. Or...
Yeah, basically, according to the FightNetwork.com article, quote, and this is from Dr. Armando. Well, this is yeah, article.
Health insurance then is, wrestler, they were exempt from the regular policy that everyone else would pay into anyway, if that makes sense. That's
Well,
what
no, this is social. them. Actually. Would also explain wrestling their access.
Right? What is it? Needing some kind of insurance.
Mexico. Over there, that we try to find to break up they get a piece of that market, but they have a kind of take market. You've got a great company and they're possibly working doing their thing. But I can see like most stars over there.
The wrestlers, the insurance will give wrestlers and their families access to clinic and hospitals where they're able to have medical tests, including X-rays, MRIs, surgery, lab studies, and attention. So what it sounds like is the government is going to provide them with a level of health insurance and because in Mexico, they take it seriously as sport is. And I'm going to play ignorance on this one because I'm not too familiar with sports. Don't athletes have like some like special healthcare for them? If I'm not mistaken, I'm not talking wrestlers. I'm talking about athletes in general.
They
in this country,
insurance.
they've got basic access to the NHS, which they use anyway. But because they're such valuable assets to their, and
they're insured.
I'm talking more like mainstream, like sort of football stuff like that. If they ever like they pay, they comes up there, regardless of the price more than your average person. They do. When it comes to like a serious injury, when like this could be out 2 years unless we have very very specific safety surgery on his knee. Oh, there's a bloke in Sweden who specialises in it, and it's not technically a private healthcare policy. The club basically just foot up and pay for it.
Yeah, I think the players' associations for like the MLB and the NFL, I think, have something like that. If I'm not mistaken, it's like some type of a union of sorts. And I'm completely pulling that out of my ass if I'm wrong. I'm just assuming. So it kind of sounds like, from what I'm hearing, that Mexico, the Mexican government, is going to start providing some type of like low-level health insurance.
Good. It's only help for their sport because it's taken so big now. That it's important that they get this level of protection towards themselves and their families because it's only going to propel
keep
sport
saying
to be
that
better.
that the wrestling industry's in the toilet, but if you look at it, the amount of productions we've got, the amount of companies that are working there as well, we're even on the cusp of having Lucha Underground being signed for a second season.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people saying that they really are gunning to get some type of a big Spanish language company to pick them up. If they can get picked up by a Univision, for instance, that would make them the #2 promotion.
Yeah,
because that
at the moment, El Rey have put money on the table and they said that they want to pick it up, but they're not sure as of yet.
Well, they want to pick it up because it's getting them Emmy nominations. Wasn't there a thing where Lucha Underground was on the short list for considered Emmy nominations?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal for any network. If you can claim to be even nominated for an Emmy. So, as far as this, I wonder what impact this is going to have as far as insurance, because insurance is a big issue here in the U.S. I mean, even with Obamacare, it's really hard for people, especially people who their business requires them to get hurt, to get insured or to keep some type of insurance. So do you think this is going to lead to a lot of independent workers, like lower level indie guys, maybe going towards a CMLL or a AAA just so they can get that form of insurance?
I think this has a very potential positive impact. I really do. It's been taken seriously now, and it affords people the luxury to, who want to do this but have been scared of possible outcomes to do it, because now they've been given accredited healthcare as such. So, they can fulfill their dream or go after their dream without fear of the fact that they have one tiny little foul up and they fall foul of the medical system and are fucked. I think this is a good thing. I really do.
And I have a feeling this came out of the Aguayo death. I have a feeling that this was probably... Yeah. This probably came out of Perro Aguayo's, accidental death in the ring. This probably is what spurned this level. I think they want to start.
That's very sad, but if that tragedy, and I wish it didn't happen, but if that tragedy is going to ultimately shape a sport, or whether it's sports entertainment, for a more positive, then that's a good thing. Shouldn't have happened, but at least the government's waking up and understanding that, hey, this is a really important sport in your country. This is something that the fans of it love, and it's really, really popular. You can't ignore this anymore. It's no longer the elephant in the room. You have to take this serious, which is, if this is one of your most popular sports, then you can't leave it alone when it comes to looking after individuals, because that sport's not going away, so you can no longer ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to have huge implications, and I gotta wonder if if this is going to affect WWE in any sort of way. I mean, you hear the stories about a lot of the lower level guys who, even though they're making good enough money, they still have to foot the bill for their, a lot of their medical, treatments and whatnot. Even though WWE has done some good PR, I guess, with the whole rehab thing and whatnot, but I mean, when you're a company that big, you can do a lot more. I'm just saying. But yeah, I really want to see where this leads off to. Good for
Well, no,
Mexico.
it's very interesting, though. Yeah, very good for them, but it's very interesting also because it's going to have a ripple down effect, and it is going to touch upon other sports, and it'll be very interesting to see once this is fully established how it plays out amongst other communities, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm,
Hopefully,
definitely.
what I'm saying is it's going to have a ripple drip down effect further on into other things and benefit other people. Because it's a big thing, it's a big deal.
Yeah, health insurance is a huge deal. It's something that I know. Like I said, even in the WWE, it has issues. But yeah,
I mean, granted in this country, and if you're like an independent wrestler, then and you don't have access to, like, what I'm talking about when I said previously, to like football clubs who will cough up the bill and send you to a specialist surgeon or whatever. We have universal free, well, it's not entirely free because we pay for it out of our paycheck, but we have pretty good health cover service, which means that you can go into these sports, you can attempt to do your dream and not have to fear about one tiny little incident that may not even be that serious an injury ultimately destroying your career.
yeah. I mean, I'll use one example as far as how not having health insurance can kill a career. And you brought up the UK. Nigel McGuinness not having health insurance killed his career because he couldn't get the surgery
It didn't
to fix
kill his. It wasn't just that. They didn't guarantee him a job unless he repaired the problem, and because it was told by a proper doctor that as long as it healed, his muscles were fine, they wouldn't allow it due to the policies and the WWE's own plan. So there was no loophole around this.
Well, I'm not talking about just WWE. Isn't he retired because of that?
No, that was because if you watch The Last of the Guinness, he actually ended up in a match that caused him to have hepatitis C.
Oh, the hep.
Yeah, because someone bled on him, and that's the thing why he won't allow anyone to bleed. If he does a match in Ring of Honor, no one's allowed to bleed.
Right.
Well, good for I'm not saying good for him in that regard, but that's a good policy to take, especially if you have that. But that's much as far as like the rumors of Jack Swagger being
But he was also someone that I felt he outlasted his own stay in the company.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him a number of opportunities to be that number one guy, and he kind of killed it himself. In my opinion, I think he's got a lot of other things. He's got enough money if he saved it for his wife and child to live off of, and he could probably go part-time if he wants to continue wrestling. He'd be a big thing in TNA.
Well, by the time he gets let out of his contract,
yeah,
I don't know if TNA is going to be around. I would say GFW. I could see him fitting in with GFW.
Yeah. So I'm not really worried about it. It's one of those things where I think it was about time. Some guys just stay, as Justin Gabriel put it, people stay just to stay and collect the paycheck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to make a decision and say, well, if I'm not a valuable asset to the company, why the fuck am I here?
Yep.
All right, so let's kind of go through this pay-per-view
Battleground.
quick. I will say this: it looks better than the last Battleground event that they had, where they basically just had no ending. Anybody remember that one?
Wait, what happened
Uh,
last year? No,
It,
wait.
I can't remember what happened last Tuesday.
It wasn't. I don't think it was last year, but the last battlegrounds that they had, that was the one where it was Bryan versus Orton, and then Show came in and punched everybody, fade to black.
Oh, yeah, I remember that
There's
one.
no fucking closure.
Last year had the fatal four-way. It was like Orton, Cena, Roman, and some Show for the title, and Cena wins. LOL.
Oh yeah, they did have another battleground pay-per-view. Like I said, this pay-per-view is so meaningless. I honestly really just don't care.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose isn't even on the card. What the fuck? No Dean fucking Ambrose. And he was, within, inches of taking that belt. I mean, he had the fucking belt, but he got knocked out of his hands when him and Rollins fell to the mat.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe there's only 6 matches on here that have been announced, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
we've got the pre-show, R-Truth, King Barrett.
Let's start with that one. Let's go on with that one.
Yeah, I was gonna go from the bottom of the card up.
Yeah, I really could care less. I'm gonna say Barrett only because he's been out so much TV. It isn't for him. Plus, I don't care. Yeah, just get rid of him. I mean, I hate to say that because I know Burhan mentioned before he has some potential, but he really is just a low payment. He's actually but he just he's not out.
Have him go for the I think his time's done. They need to read him, stop him from nothing's working. It's sad, in my opinion.
Speaking of sad, I mean, I mentioned wait is God, how is this prime? I mean, this guy, I would put him next to Big Show, this guy that just feels old. He's been around seemingly since 2000. I mean, I remember the K-Quick days. I remember the Ron the Truth Killings days from NWA TNA.
Yeah,
the guy's
two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
He's just been around for so long. I'm done with it. I mean, he was the heel, he was the face, he was the crazy heel, he was the crazy face. He's done everything at this point. He has nothing to offer, in my opinion. I think both of these guys just need to go away, but more so R-Truth. King Barrett, I think, is just more of a mercy killing at this point.
Mm-hmm. I say Barrett wins.
I just think R-Truth
who killed that. He really is at this point. And I really don't feel like just
Right.
no, but I'm going Wade Barrett, or at least I'd hope Wade Barrett. If Barrett loses, like I said, get rid of him. Just release him at that point because he's done.
Barrett's got to win it. I'd say that's what he's gonna get back. He's gonna hopefully they're done with this, King Truth with the plunger, and because Truth gets a win on Raw on Barrett over on Monday. So yeah, Barrett. It's just a match. It's pre-show. I think it's gonna be a halfway decent match, but nobody cares.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything they
Pretty
want to
much.
say? Anybody else have any other picks?
I just stand by Nick on that one.
All
Burhan?
right.
Nobody cares.
who's up for Truth versus Barrett.
Barrett,
Truth.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think Truth is going to be King Truth because people
If
are
I had to
laughing.
watch that, I'd have to brew myself up a really strong
And
cup
I
of coffee
do
and get some
think
energy
that
drinks.
he's done. I think Barrett's done.
I didn't even realize it's for Barrett's King of the Ring crown, so I guess that can actually be, you can actually put that up for grabs.
Well, they used to back in the day. They did used to.
Oh Jesus!
They even did it with Brett versus Lawler when it was the King versus the King. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to the second.
Your tone of your voice.
All right, you know what? I want to get this one out of the way because this is going to be why. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Oh, this is going to be a shameful thing. Lobster head. Oh God.
I don't get it. I don't see it. I don't understand why. I just think.
It's basically something to collect these two a paycheck. That's it.
Yeah,
well,
it's to give these guys something to do.
They're filling a fight because, quite frankly, when I saw that lineup, my brain just went, "Okay, well now I have a new piss break that doesn't involve the Divas."
Oh my
Good
God,
job.
yes. There isn't a Divas match on this card.
Because that makes
That's what we need.
sense.
Technically, then, that's why we need this. I'd like to think the inside joke is the reason this fight exists is the people behind, WWE know that we like Divas fights, so we can go make a cup of tea or take a piss or get a beer out the fridge and went like, we got no Divas. Fuck. Hey, these two guys.
Yeah,
What?
Randy Orton versus Sheamus for the 200th time.
Who fucking cares?
I swear
I have to say it.
they've done this one as much as they've done Orton Cena.
In fact, we should actually call this rinse and repeat.
wash, rinse, and repeat. Yep. Sheamus, I see Orton. He's gonna put Sheamus over. There's no reason to have your guy who's holding the Money in the Bank lose. But then again, that seems to be their track record with the booking. They make the Money in the Bank guy.
Hope, since we know it's going to be like the fight no one wants, I just hope that even though Burhan said they are there to pick up a paycheck, at least they do something with this. Because even though I'm going to take a piss through at least 1/3 of it,
Sheamus is going to be the guy.
expect-
He's going to be the guy who wins the championship again. I'm not a fan of heel Sheamus. I think he looks like a complete and utter idiot.
He looks like Foghorn Leghorn gained an Irish accent and became a wrestler.
Yeah. He's not. And the only reason they're promoting him is because he's in the new Turtles movie. And in my opinion, I think.
Really? You couldn't find any two other wrestlers to fulfill this section? Like, really? No one? No one?
They could have added anyone. They just decided not to.
I got this image in my head who's supposed to be working out the order for the fight, and he just thinks, I got nothing. Then he leans into his bin, his waste bin, his waste paper bin that's been by the side of his desk with his computer for a very long time, and he just flips through the shit in there and just went, oh, these two guys, that works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've got another. Sheamus wins because.
Sheamus wins, LOL.
Yeah. I just don't care about this.
And there'd be a collective sigh across all the WWE fans across the world, just going, "Fucking no!"
I'm gonna say it.
Cesaro versus. They could have turned the United States Championship match into a triple threat.
I'm going to say it right now. This is going to be the matchup that the fans hijack. If there's going to be one match that the fans are going to hijack,
God.
it's going to be this one.
Randy Orton.
If I was in the audience down the canal when they come to the ring, I'd hold my hand out for both the wrestlers and do the stupid thing they did from the 50s, which is they go to shake my hand, hopefully as a fan, then I just go, psych, and pull it back to my head. That's how little I care about this fucking match.
Yeah, I want to...
If I was a millionaire, do you know what I would do? If I was a millionaire, I'd break my checkbook out, right, and just go, right, I'll write your check now for more of this match if you fuck off.
And let me just say right now to our fans, all 5 of you that are probably listening out there, we're not shitting on Randy Orton versus Sheamus like they can't wrestle.
Right.
It's that
We're
these
shitting
two...
on the fact such a
It's
regurgitated...
No,
filler.
not even that, because good filler can be okay if the matchup is any good. These two don't have any... They have no chemistry. It's basically, they just don't gel well.
It's another one they're just trying to cram. They're like, okay, we're getting it. At least I hope they're getting it that Cena versus Orton is done to death.
Yeah.
That if fucking
We
see it
need
one
to
more
learn
time,
to
someone needs to go black on their ass.
Mhm.
Miguel will get that reference.
Yeah, like if it was a situation where it was Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler, those guys have chemistry. I
It'd be
would
a
not
good match,
mind.
and I'd be fine watching that. I'd be fine,
Yeah.
If it was, Sheamus Daniel Bryan can have a damn good match. There's
Well,
certain
for those of
guys
us
that
who
can
watch
have a
the
good
WWE Network, what are you going to have to pay for this?
Yeah, it's a matchup that these two are just going to go through the motions with. It's
Yeah, but
just going to be...
My question was, because, I slag off cheap matches and stuff, but I get to enjoy it all for a tenner a month. If you want to watch this and you're not on the WWE Network, what are you paying for this?
$60.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And the announcers will call you fucking stupid.
Yeah, 70 if you want to get the HD feed.
Fuck you. Fuck me.
You know
Okay.
what? That sounds like, hiring an escort would be cheaper and more fun.
Guess what? Getting the
Yeah.
deluxe version of Madden 16 is about that same price, and guess what? I'll get a lot more enjoyment out of Madden.
Yeah. Well, fuck. If that's gonna be the case, I'll pay that much and get WWE 13 and just simulate the matchup on there. That might be fun because
Or get
sometimes the
WWE
AI,
15 or
Heck
whatever.
yeah.
2K15.
yeah, whatever the new version of WWE
Well,
is.
2K16
I have it
is
anyway,
gonna be on
but
the way out.
sorry, 2K15's been reduced in all the supermarkets in this country to £9. So people, if you are
Yeah.
British, go and buy it. That's a bargain.
Yeah, guys, get 6 or 7 copies of WWE
Or
13 and
get a
simulate
copy
this
of that and get all the DLC, and you'll be much happier.
Yeah.
Are we done talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's move on to one of the matches that I wish I
well,
was
we
a
still
little bit.
got Roman versus Bray.
That's what I was actually going to go to.
Okay.
A match that I'm actually on paper. This matchup is not bad. I like the build up for it. I think both of these two guys, if they
Legitimate
were bigger,
heat. Bray Wyatt cost Roman the Money in the Bank, much to the delight of the fans. But
you know,
Well,
they
it's the
brought the
opposite,
family.
because I'm all right with this match because not 100%, up there with other sort of matches, but compared to how we just complained about the last match, there is a bit of chemistry in this one. So
Yeah.
there's a
At
legitimate
least-
story too. So that's what we could say about this as opposed to Orton Sheamus. It just got thrown together. It's like one of those thrown together last minute. Okay, and tonight you're gonna see Randy Orton versus Sheamus. No, with this one, there's a legitimate story. There's a build up here. There's a reason why Roman wants to Superman punch this guy's beard right into the third row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's one of the few times that I could think of that a heel has actually made Roman Reigns a babyface. That it's clear this is a good guy versus a bad guy affair. You know, Bray Wyatt is going after his kids and being all creepy, and I think Bray's been really knocking it out of the park with those promos he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, on paper, this matchup is firing on all cylinders going into it. I think these guys will pull out a decent enough matchup as far as in ring work because Bray's no slouch in the ring and Reigns is okay when he gives a shit. I think I'm gonna go Roman Reigns on this one because I know they want to keep building Reigns and making Reigns look strong. But
yeah,
I
Roman's
think,
gonna look really, really strong.
but
Real
if,
strong.
But here's the thing, though. If they wanted to really keep this going, they'd give Bray the win and kind of keep it going all the way to SummerSlam. I don't see that happening because I don't think they really have any long-term plans for Bray at the moment. I think the feud between these two can go months, honestly, if you play it out right. But I know WWE too well, so I'm going to go Reigns on this one.
Yeah, they're going to give Reigns a big marquee match at SummerSlam against who? I don't fucking know. But
I call Reigns on it as well because it's going to be where can they put him next?
All right. Burhan?
Who's that? Roman. Bray Wyatt.
Really?
Okay.
Controversial.
Going against the grain here. Okay.
Want to go? Hold on. I want to go a little bit more into it, Burhan. Why Bray?
Because I believe this feud's not over. If they're smart, they will allow this feud to continue because Bray's had his share of losses. Bray needs to continue the trend. Roman and Bray need to feud. There's nobody
Yeah, but you
else.
just answered your own question, Burhan, which is I believe if they're smart, then this feud's not
they're
over,
not.
but they're not. So it's going the other
I
way.
think with this, Roman's got nowhere else to go, so I think they'll continue. As I said, they're not that stupid. But saying that, we shall see. They might prove me wrong.
All right. A tag team title match. Primetime players against the New Day.
Prime time.
Yeah, I say primetime players. I love the New Day gimmick. They had a great promo on Raw. They were cutting down the fans, but you stayed positive. It just this condescending, just jackass way. It was great.
I just say prime time because I think they're more competent wrestlers. Not massively more so, but
Here's
I'm
the
just
thing:
saying.
all three of these guys, Kofi, Xavier, and Biggie, are competent wrestlers. It's just the gimmick it's finally started to get some steam, and they've kind of found that they've ran with it as these,
it's played out.
condescending. Yeah, I mean, and then what are they gonna do with these guys after? I don't know, but I'd say primetime players. They're gonna I mean, they haven't, made it as much of a big deal as they should have when Darren Young originally came out last year, I think it was.
This is also another perfect example, though, where, and I know it's WWE, and everyone expects a gimmick from certain wrestling groups, affiliates, and certain wrestlers, in period. It's in present, but it's kind of like it was a bad gimmick, and
And they turned it into something good.
yeah, but it's got a life expectancy, and so what do you do when that expires?
hmm I hope they do some of these. I mean, Xavier Woods has his own. They have their own little gaming channel on YouTube, and he's entertaining as fuck. But in fact, I need to watch the one where they have Rusev playing Street Fighter. That'll be
That's
hilarious.
stupid as well. I really hate the transparency they have with these guys are just characters. It's like, no, you don't want to do. How are you going to take a heel and a face seriously if, like Bray Wyatt, if Bray Wyatt's playing a game, talking shit and having a laugh, it doesn't work. They have to be in character. I love the days of pro wrestling when someone was in a character. They lived, they breathed that character. They dressed.
Yeah, well, I remember when Honky Tonk Man was doing his podcast. He was someone called him the question. Well, how did you handle the kayfabe if there was a kid that came up to you and you're in a restaurant or something? If you asked for your autograph or something, how do you handle that? Because but besides the point, that was tangent. But yeah, primetime players. Anyone have anything else or?
I think they're going to keep it on primetime players.
Yeah,
There's no reason to put it back onto the New Day unless they want something to really come out
We
of
do
it.
need for the next cast, by the way. We do need a scorecard so we can total out who called what. By the way,
yeah,
that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, and then it's you know what? Wait, is Rowan hurt? It's Rowan. One of those guys is hurt again. It's Rowan or Harper.
But I think it might be Rowan.
It was Rowan. Yeah, he's hurt. So they were next in line for the tag titles, but not anymore.
Again, they blew their chance last year against the Usos. That feud was hot. And besides the point, we got to move on to the next thing that legitimately scares me. Cena versus Owens 3 for the U.S. title. Okay.
I think it should have been Cena versus Owens versus Cesaro, and have Owens win it that way by pinning Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something new and flipped up.
Yeah, and then you have Cena have a legitimate beef that not only did he lose the title, but he was never pinned, so you could... But, okay, they cannot fuck this up. They're 1-1, fine, I know you only rent wins from Cena, they got their little even Steven booking, but Owens has to beat Cena.
Yeah, agreed.
But having to beat is not the same as calling. Are you calling him?
I'm calling Owens. Just because I might be wishful thinking, but I'm calling Owens because there is absolutely no fucking reason to have Super Cena do his stupid little kick out of two bullshit and Cena wins, LOL.
See, that's my big fear, though, and my worry, which is it's going to play out that way because they've done it for so long, so much, and they think, and the fans don't necessarily want it, but they think we know best, and I don't think he should, but I don't want to. You understand where I'm coming from with this? I don't want to call Cena, but I'm scared I might have to.
I don't either. I'm not calling Cena. I'm holding out the hope that with Cena...
Well, I'm not calling because I want him to win. I'm just calling for fear that they're going to go in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how long Cena has left, but it's getting to the point where I'm hoping they realize that, okay, he needs to start putting guys over. And if you want to do the rematch at SummerSlam, fine.
But this is my reason, Nick. Come back to what you just said then. This is my reason I'm scared that it's going to be Cena, which is when you said we don't know how much longer he's got over from a marketing and money-making potential, I feel that they're going to use him past his sell-by date, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And they will, because Cena still makes some big fucking merchandise money, and fuck. I'm calling Owens. I'm gonna stick with that.
I want Owens, but I'm going to call Cena, but I'm not going to call it because I want him to win it. I'm calling it from a cynical center perspective.
LOL.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Cena on this one. And the reason I say that is because I think Cena's going to win, but I think he's going to win because Cesaro's going to get involved. I have a feeling that I do think that they're going to use Cesaro, and I have a feeling that because of the fact that they've been building up something between them on Raw and SmackDown leading up to this, I have a funny feeling that Cesaro is going to get involved somehow and cost Owens the belt, and they're gonna transition Owens into a feud with Cesaro, and then Cena can go on to feud with whatever big name that he wants to feud with for SummerSlam.
And you just pray to God it's not Orton.
I don't. Like I said, at this point, if Owens loses, it's just, to me, that'll basically prove that this whole Cena experiment was not for him to elevate people. It was just him to have the belt. Which a lot of people have been saying is the case. You have a lot of your diehards for WWE going, he's doing it to elevate the talent, and, guys look good when they wrestle against him.
And that's what we've gotten. Every week he's come on, these guys have, and only on a few occasions has Cena not won clean. Neville had him beat one week, and Rusev came out to cause a DQ because that makes fucking sense. Mm-hmm. Of course, that was right before that fucking I Quit match. Was thanks a lot for giving away your match ending before they even have the match, fuckers.
Yeah, and am I the only one who's noticing a pattern where John Cena will kick out of the other opponent's finisher 3 or 4 times, but a springboard stunner is enough to incapacitate it? I mean, you could drop a fucking Mack truck on John Cena. He'll get up and basically give you a round of applause.
Oh my god, yeah, what's the meme online? It's like doing a complete body cast. It says, like, Cena be like, I'll be at Raw Monday.
Yeah. And the worst part of it is he's so condescending about it. He'll be like, oh, this guy, give him a round of applause, guys. He did his best. It wasn't good enough, and I still beat him, but he did his best. Come on, guys.
I think it comes back to what I said, and a little bit Nick touched on, which is, he still makes loads of money, which is until Cena is finally kind of completely past his sell-by date, they're never going to remove him from this equation, even though he's not deservedly to be in all these matches. It's just like, makes us money, keep him here, keep him here, keep him here, and it's like, no. How far does he have to go before you say, well, clearly he's got arthritis? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? Like, how far does he have to go before his credibility is removed because you're wringing every last fucking dollar out of him you want to, WWE?
Well, here's the thing about credibility is he's at the point now in his career where he can afford to lose every matchup and it won't kill him. They want to protect him so much, and I'm just sitting here thinking,
yeah, because he's a poster boy and a t-shirt seller.
I mean, the guy is a made man. You don't have to protect a guy like him. He can lose. In fact, it'll actually endear him more to the fans if he loses. I know you want to give the kid...
Don't laugh, because this goes back for like 18 months, but I actually have a C Nation sticker on my laptop.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't hate John Cena.
The one where he salutes. I don't. But I just think it's time to let him wind down and go, as opposed to constantly wringing him out like a wet cloth. Because you're ultimately WWE. I know why you're doing it, because you're a company that wants to make money. But by taking that route, you're removing his credibility. So when it comes to fights that people look at and just go, that was rubbish. That never should have happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's...
No, I mean, he like I said, he puts on good matches, but I think people are just tired of him winning.
Longer is what I'm saying is.
Right.
And how much more tired is he of being that person that they always shove in people's faces and plays, the dirty card from time to time. Mm-hmm. What's the cliche they say? A change is as good as a rest. So can we have that, WWE?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm still going with Cena. I don't see WWE getting on the platform.
I just wish sometimes everybody was staple to their fucking hands.
They want to send the fans home happy, so they're going to get what they want. They think they have to be a finish that they're going to get wins, but it's moment. I really going to really kill any chance of being that was maybe they never really wanted to be made guys. They wanted to be big enough.
On YouTube where I take my Cena action figure and film him melting in the microwave.
Oh, I'm glad you ended it with that and not say I do a YouTube video where I just take my Johnson out.
Choosing
Your channel
will
be closed down for community issues.
Yeah.
True story. Before I had YouTube and I filmed it for friends, I had someone bought me a James Bond, a Sean Connery James Bond action figure from the dollar store, right? And so I pinned him down, and it wasn't a laser, and I filmed it with a camera just to show my mates on my phone, and I took a jigsaw out, And then I just went, "You expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." And then I cut him in half
Beautiful.
with my jigsaw.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going with Cena. I don't
Cena's
want
getting it.
to.
I just think they need to kind of address this. I understand that he's still got potential and he's been off and stuff like that. But I just think it's C Nation's getting a little bit tiring. And can we not have a little bit of a mix up? WWE? Can you not look at the future as opposed to constantly writing checks for yourselves?
Well, speaking of future, let's move on to is it the main event now that we've got? Have
Yep.
we talked? Yep,
Our Lord
Seth
and
Rollins
Savior.
versus Brock
Yep, our
Lesnar.
Lord and Savior Brock Lesnar with the Advocate Paul Heyman against Seth Rollins for the title. How do you do this in the best way possible without ruining Brock or
Simple. You throw everything at Brock. You throw every kitchen sink you have in that stadium at Brock. You do what you basically have it be as kabuki a matchup as you possibly can. And at the end of the day, Seth Rollins has to go over because they've clearly not milked this authority angle dry, and they want to keep it going. And the only way you do that is you have to keep the belt on Seth Rollins.
right?
See, I disagree. I think I agree with your angle, which is we're going to throw everything at him. It's going to be like Rocky 4 and shit. But no, I think he'll do it. I think it might be cheap. There might be some stuff in this fight that we don't like.
Shenanigans, yeah. I think there's gonna have to
But
be.
I'm going to go with, and even if it's not like a clean win, I'm calling, even, controversial. You can laugh at me next week when I've called it wrong, but I'm going with Brock.
Okay.
Yes,
I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think Seth is
I
going to sell
hope
his
so,
ass
yeah.
off
Bump
for
like a
Brock.
motherfucker for Brock.
Yeah. Burhan, what's your thoughts on Seth versus Lesnar? You gonna go Seth as well?
Lesnar will not take the title again because it's going to be the same situation that they had before, and people are going to get fed up of it. I think this is a way to kind of legitimize Seth.
Yeah, but it never stopped them with John Cena, so I don't know. I think it could.
Cena's on TV every week. Lesnar isn't.
That's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun to keep the belt on Brock those few months, when they were kind of building up to his matchup against Roman Reigns, but
And that
You
and
know,
the crowd
I don't think
shat
you can
on
do
that
that.
until the big cash in, the big heist of this fucking century.
yeah, I don't think you could do that again.
I just wish he would because I like him as a wrestler very much.
Brock is the most legit thing in WWE right now, and that's
Oh my
really sad
God.
to say.
Yeah, he comes
Yes.
in. Anytime he comes in, you know shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
But that's why
Someone's going to
beating him,
Suplex City, bitch.
beating him is going to be the thing that propels Seth.
So I do apologise. I just laughed like a unicorn.
He's gone a little bit stale, and a lot of it is because of the way he's been booked. The authority, it's relied too much on the authority. This will he, won't he bullshit with Kane, it's annoying.
Well, there's a whole
And
episode of
like-
Slamcast in this, isn't it? What we just said about Cena and stuff like that, which is if you take all the individuals out of the equation in fights and just talk about the politics behind when it comes to making cold hard cash, it's rinse repeat. It's they constantly go in circles. Every month, every years, strong, but
It's in play. I don't think you're going to
that's
see
how
much going in.
Battleground seems to be. You're coming off Money in the Bank. You're going into SummerSlam. It's just there. Because, okay, we got a show coming up. Let's book something, and we'll...
Exactly. Maybe they should back off a little bit from, all right, obviously, WrestleMania and stuff like that, and the events that are massive, but maybe they should lay off the pay-per-views for a little bit because to some degree, at least for me, they're cheapening them by... They're so frequently close to, placed close together.
Yeah, and with the network, I think you can do that. They're not so relying on pay-per-view dollars anymore. They want to drum up the subscriptions for the network. Give people a reason to tune in to watch, Battleground. Give people
but you know
reason
what
to
I'm saying,
subscribe.
don't you, Nick? Which is,
Yeah,
I'm not saying, completely get rid of them or
but allow
restrict.
your big storylines to sit and
Yeah.
breathe.
And
Keep
also allow
allowing
a
it to
little bit
build.
more longer, or just take the gap you have between them and double it. Because at the end of the day, that's nothing in TV land. So to constantly just go boom, 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 and like we said earlier on, which is you're casting people for these events that a lot of people just look at like us as cynics and just go, really, that person, no one else? Possibly slow it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, look, the way I see it is this: no matter what we say, no matter what we do in terms of wrestling fans, they're
Yeah,
going to do
can
what
go
they want.
one.
They
Sorry.
want to suffer the consequences. They will do down that. And
Yeah,
All right.
We know why you're not here, and my thoughts are with you. So
yeah,
I will throw
uh,
this out there. I guess Virgil's starting a GoFundMe to get $1,000,000 for no reason.
Well,
Uh,
what?
Virgil can go fuck me. How about that?
guess what?
I-
He's always going to
Virgil
be the
started
$5
GoFundMe to
jabroni.
make himself relevant. That's what he needs to do. Um, but ladies and gents, I want to just basically say how it's been a great time. The show was started by Chris Hashankt and John Latimer. Had a few failed starts. Then it was taken over by myself, Brandon Ligg, and Nick Horacek, and
Well,
also
I
Mr.
jumped in
Dave.
on episode 3. It was like,
well, no, I didn't start it. You brought me in, and I was
yeah,
captain
I got.
anti-wrestling, and you all completely. Which, don't get me wrong, I love you for doing this, but it does pick my wallet now. Completely spun me around and got me in love with this sport. So thank you, and thank you,
Yeah,
Burhan.
and what I want to say to each and every one of you out there, the message still holds true. The show's going to be continuing without me, but it's been great. It's been great to see how the show's progressed and how the fan base has worked. The show has also spawned Wrestling Revolution, our new forum, um, and has managed to do a hell of a lot in terms of giving us more legitimacy and respect, having Nigel McGuinness on as well. And I want to say to
And Terry
those,
Pantera.
those who enjoy the show, yeah, and Tommy Pantera, those who enjoyed the show, I want to say a great big thank you for giving me. I think it's been what, nearly 2 years that we've been doing this. For
Little
having
over
2 years on
a
this
year.
show, 5 years and I got gameplay,
Hmm.
a couple of years on the Untitled Movie Show as well, which is one of the longest running shows on the Retro Island network.
Hmm.
And I want you people to say, if you want to still, see what I'm up to, go to youtube.com/the Nerd Genius, nerdgenius.com as well, and check out a blog called Mike's Journey. And I'm going to be basically letting you guys know what it's like to be in the life of a homeless person as I go around London and also around Europe, trying to find my place. This is a journey, not just my journey, trying to figure out where I need to be or where it is I need to kind
No,
of
you're speaking
my
for the
step in.
unsilent majority.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People keep talking about the 1%, but what about those who are struggling? This year alone, homelessness rates in the UK have skyrocketed, and I'm now in that same position. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, it is going to be hard. I want to talk a little bit candidly about the fact that as a single father, I feel every day that I've let people down. As a human being, I feel like I've let people down, but sometimes you've got to take those feelings and push them to one side and know that you're not a failure. Life knocks you hard, life takes you down, but the thing about it, as Rocky would say, you got to pick yourself up, you got to stand up, and you got to keep punching. Because if we don't keep punching and we just let it crush us under its own weight, then there's no point. Then what's the point of even bothering if that's what you're going to do? Every day is a fight. Every day is hard. But remember, there's always a chance. There's always opportunities out there, and there's always people out there who love you and care for you that will be there to help support you. For me, it's each and every one of you. It's the people on this show. It's the people out there on my Facebook feed. It's the people out there on Twitter. It's those who go to nerdgenius.com. It's the people who stay with me that are still a part of my time in Retro Unlim. And I want to say to those people, thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking by me. And I know my opinion may be different from everyone else's. I
You
know.
don't have to thank us. We do it because it's you.
Yeah, but I think I need to sometimes. And I just want to say, I'm going to be doing a video going a bit more into this tomorrow. And explaining my final time in front of the camera in Nerd Genius in its current form, what's going to be happening and what I'm doing. And I just want to let each and every one of you know that no matter what happens, just keep on fighting. Just like each and every one of these guys do. If you've gone to an independent show, the guy gets paid $5 to have a match. Sometimes people are paying to get in the ring with people who are not even personally trained. They fight for tooth and nail, they fight for everything they have, and they do anything they can so they can get over and just get a shred of notice from Vince McMahon. The business has changed a lot, and it has evolved into a platform that's become extremely global. But remember that each and every one of these guys gives their lives and puts their lives on the line for you. The Tyson Kids, who's just had neck surgery and is doing fine. The Kurt Angles, who had to be rushed into hospital again. And each and every guy who has tried and who has ended up injured because their career took them in a different direction. But no matter what happens or how hard you get hit, just always remember that you keep moving forward. So for the final time, I want to say goodbye, God bless, and thank you. Dave, do you want to say anything?
I love you, bro, and I'll always be here for you.
I know you will, dude. Miguel?
Well, listen, no matter what, you've always got a spot on the Untitled Movie Show. I'll try to keep the show on as best as I can. I'm going to see if I can find some people to fill in that extra spot that we're going to have. But, as soon as you get back and you get back on your feet...
Cough! Elephant in the
more than
room. He's over there on the other side. Nick! Sorry.
Well, no, I'm not saying that Nick can't. I mean, like I said, we'll see where it goes from there. But stop fucking up my moment, Dave.
That's what he does.
But
It's my job.
it's going to be unfortunate to have to see you go. I know it's only for a little bit of time. I know you'll get back on your feet. There was never any doubt in my mind that was ever going to be the case. I wish you the best of luck, man. I really do.
It breaks my heart that I've got to do this. I'm not going to lie, it does. I'm kind of
No, but
breaking.
you're looking at it the wrong way, Burhan. You have to do
Thinking
this,
about-
but then look at it like this, which is what a wonderful, wonderful, positive learning experience this can be to give you new skills and tools and stuff.
I know.
Don't look at it as a negative fashion. Look at it. It was spawned out of something negative, but that doesn't have to make the journey negative within itself, if that makes sense.
No, exactly, and I know that, but it breaks my heart because I'm not going to be doing these shows anymore. The thing is, no matter what happens, the brightest part of my day was doing these shows. Going up to do the Untitled Movie Show, doing Slamcast and talking wrestling, talking about gaming, and I got gameplay. I enjoyed it, and I know I've had a few comments of people saying that, about my interactions with YouTubers and celebrities and gaming media people and stuff, but I enjoyed it. And the one thing I have to say about these shows is they've given me a whole new perspective. They allowed me to do something that I enjoyed, and they allowed me to take a bit of headspace away from other stuff to this.
And
Well,
they
again,
made
I'm
you
gonna
meet
express
new
it-
friends that you wouldn't have
Here's
met otherwise.
Here's what I'm wondering. I mean, you're going to have your phone with you because you're going to be recording a lot of this stuff and whatnot. I
We
mean,
can still call you, right?
yeah, there is Skype for the iPhone. You can still.
No, I've got it. And the thing that I'm worried about at the moment is battery life, because I'm not going to be at locations.
You need
where I can
to,
charge.
and if you want to buy it, you need to buy one of those things, and you can charge it up in cafes, which is it's called I don't know what it's called in North America, but it's called the double battery cell in this country, and it's like a tiny little thing. It's no bigger than a matchbox, and you can you have to charge it for like 4 hours, but it will recharge your phone from itself when it's not plugged in 4 times.
Yeah, my brother wants to get me a solar panel one.
Yeah,
So
they
it
have solar
charges the
panel
sun.
ones. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
portable battery packs. I have one. It's a
Yeah.
USB little battery thing that
Yeah,
you
I have
plug
one
into.
too.
Yeah, I know. I've got one, but it's not that great. It only holds enough for about a 75% charge.
Yeah, so I
But-
mean,
the kick
we're
is
saying
also,
goodbye like we're gonna never see him again. I mean, it's
On the
not
shows,
out of the,
on the shows, you won't be. And the reason,
Well,
as I
I
said,
feel if we're going to take it this seriously, Burhan, we should all do Spock's death scene from Star Trek 3.
no,
Yeah.
no. That's not. He's not dying. You know,
No.
it's not a goodbye. It's
You know,
more of a.
Smell you
I've
later.
never come to someone else.
yeah. But
So
I
pure.
know that at least these shows are in capable hands, and I want you guys to keep listening because it's going to be great. You know, Stephen Richards is going to help maintain the shows. You got Nick making sure that he does his thing as the kind of the main producer on this show. You've
And
got
and by the
Sean.
way, Nick, I do appreciate you helping me out with producing the Untitled Movie Show because I'm still a little bit behind on getting my computer up and running. I dropped a lot of money for the.
Just remember,
testing.
Burhan, you're not gone. We're just keeping the seats warm for you.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick, you want to say anything before we finish?
You know, the fact that this all spawned me getting on this show from a random post in the Happy Console Gamer forum. I think it was you that, because I remember somebody, or I think it was Burhan that asked, so what else do you do besides game? Like, I follow MMA and pro wrestling. And jump on our podcast. All right. That's how this started. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to promote my channel every week, Gaming Pegasus 187. I'm going to try and get our video out this week. I got lazy with it because, well, reasons. Weddings, Oregon, getting hammered, shit like that.
I was just going to say, weddings are the greatest reason to get pissed for free.
Really? Oh, man.
So wake up with a bridesmaid or two.
Yeah, that never happened.
Especially the ones who are like, I'm never getting married. Oh, let me console you.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you
God.
are. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. These people don't get you like I get you. Sorry. Oh, that makes me sound like a man whore.
Oh, my God.
Dave knows where it's at. But yeah, go on, Nick.
Yeah, it's just random things, just how things end up working out. Now I'm going to be taking over this show, so I'm going to try and keep it consistent as possible. I'm going to really learn XSplit so I can actually play shit through Skype, because I don't know why it doesn't... I don't know why, like, some things work, some things won't, whatever. But it's technical shit on my end, I'll figure out, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah.
one more final thing to say, Burhan, by the way. Just for the other gentleman in the room, and obviously Brandon isn't, which is, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know Nick. He wouldn't be my friend. I wouldn't know, Miguel, and I wouldn't know Brandon. I wouldn't know Michelin, Jamie. I wouldn't know a massive amount of people
Really?
on the internet. So, yeah, stay strong, brother, because you're a good bloke, and you've done many positive things, and thanks to you, I have all these great friends. And I do consider you all friends.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think someone said to me that, I spend too much time on the internet and that I don't live in the real world.
What,
Well,
uniting people is a bad thing? If you try to
I'll say
unite
this,
people in
for me,
the
the
modern
internet
world
is
these
the real
days?
world. The people here are probably the people that I trust more than most real people out there. There's people that I've met in real life who've stabbed me in the back, where people on the internet tend to be the nicest people that I can share my loves, my passions, and my experiences with.
Yep.
Met my girlfriend on the internet, who's the love of my life. And I managed to share something with my kids, which was my passion in terms of gaming, to the fact where they've become, they want to do it. They want to sit down and play Let's Plays and talk about their gaming experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just love. And the thing I think people don't get is,
I don't like that sullen tone in your voice. I know you have to go through a difficult time right now, but be positive, Burhan, because it's just one step in your journey and you're fucking coming back.
all I'm saying to everybody out there is make sure, don't look at this as just the internet. Look at it as your home away from home, your place that you can escape to and somewhere that you can enjoy.
A place
Well,
that makes the world smaller.
Exactly. Where you go onto online on GTA 5 and play with your friends or play a good game of Mario Kart on your Wii U's. Just remember that there are people out there who loves the same loves that you do, share the same interests, and nothing is impossible. So from me for the final time, I want to say for Brandon Ligon, for Lawn Boys, post 1975, Mr. Dave Way, for Miguel Leon, youtube.com/the Untitled Movie Show, for Nick Horacek, youtube.com/the Gaming Pegasus 187.
Burhan, that's not my website address. I don't have a dedicated
sorry.
URL for YouTube. It's
Okay,
it's twitter.com/unmovie show.
Twitter.com/unmovie show. Apologies. And I am youtube.com/nerdgenius, aka Michael Burhan, saying that we will see you for the very last time, from me, of course, in the ring.
Go out and spread peace, love, and humptiness to the world.
Support independent wrestling, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So, let's take it out.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Friendship. From a group of random people that became really good friends through nothing more than Burhan and meeting randomly online, and I would like to say thank you.
For the very last time, this show is sponsored by Wrestling Trunks. The things that you never wash, you never clean, and sometimes you take a big dump in. The trunks worn by guys like Rikishi, who likes to do the stink face, like Lance Storm, who's proven enough times where he shat himself, and CM Punk, who, because he suffered a staph infection and got angry at WWE, decided to poop his pants. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they're stinky, they're disgusting, but they are damn sure entertaining. Wrestling Trunks.
Pretty sure you can buy them on eBay as well.
This show is sponsored by professional wrestling. Yes, that crazy thing where Jim Cornette rants and calls everybody else assholes, where Jeff Jarrett steals your wife and then marries her and brings you and her kids to the home, where guys get groin pulls, groin tears and decide they want to still wrestle, and also for those out there that just want to have fun making poop jokes and pretending that wrestling titles are just belts and props. Fuck you, Vince Russo.
Yeah.
And one last one for Vince McMahon, the diva-chasing, goat-hurting, genetic jackhammer, and an old-timer whose muscles look like he's on a huge keg of steroids. For Vince, you crazy old bastard, this one's for you. Goodbye, God bless, good night, and see you soon.